Gentlemen, what's going on? There's more than two of us here, and actually we're here, so we're improving every week.
What?
Right?
We are?
Yeah. Two weeks ago we weren't here at all. Last week there was only two of us. This week there's three of us. It's like we're getting back on track. Man, the summer is a mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think he's saying that he's glad you're here, and it's not just me, Miles. That you are the improvement.
Nah. No, we'll wait and see. You might realise that at the end of the show, Brian's like, you know what? Two people actually is pretty good.
Yeah. He'll be reconsidering his words at 9:30, right?
Right. Two people was really good for like 3 years straight. So no complaints when it's just the two of us. Just the two of us.
Two of us.
We can make it if we try. Should we just start this? Let's go.
Yo.
This is PSVR GAMESCAST Live. We film live every single Wednesday, almost every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. But don't worry, our good buddy Rod Pop is out there taking care of your oral pleasure. He uploads this thing to podcast services of your choice. Let us know if you listen to the podcast. Really want to know some stats on that. It seems like we got some good numbers over there, though. My name is Brian Pop on the channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, or just Without Parole these days, because I like to screw with people. And let's go right down the line. In the middle is Myles Dyer from youtube.com/Myles. Myles, how's the heat out there in the UK?
Hey, Brian. Hey, Wes. Hey, Game Cats. It is a bit toasty today, but we had flash floods yesterday. Is that a term you use in America? Do you call them flash floods?
It is, yes.
Okay, that's nice. I just love it when I can say a word and it's also a word that you use. It's just, I love it. Yeah, so had some.
If we try, sorry, it's a different part of the show.
We are past that, the karaoke section, which is a new section I do really appreciate with the show. I think it gets things off to a good start, an unnerving start for some, but a good start for the rest of us.
It's like we filter out who really wants to be here right from the get-go.
That's it. It's like, if you're not on board with this, then you're not going to be on board with any of this.
That's right.
So, yeah, you want to put up front exactly what kind of show people can expect, and then we're good to go. So, random songs, weather reports from the UK, and just general shenanigans. So, it's good to be back. I just want to say massive love to the Game Cat community. A lot of people sending very lovely messages, checking in on me. I have just had a lot going on, and also just in my life personally, in that, as a lot of people have known, and sometimes you just got to listen to yourself and slow down a bit. And yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to getting back to live streaming PSVR2 games from next week. So many people keep asking about Madison, and the reality is, because of like how I've been lately, I'm a bit fragile. Madison's probably not going to be the thing I dive into both feet first. I mean, to be honest,
the term we use around here. Yeah, you're a fucking
cool snowflake. That's what the doctor told me. Said you're a snowflake, and there is no prescription for this. Just man up. That's what he said.
That's the scientific term.
Yeah, it was. Good. He literally got his notes out and said, "Yeah, snowflake, grade A snowflake." So it's good to be back.
Cool. And of course, the far right hand side of the screen. My brother from another mother and another father. It's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. There's no relation whatsoever, if you can't tell.
What up, Brian? What up, Miles? What up, cats? I was meeting with Miles yesterday, Brian, and he was literally wearing a hoodie, and I was just so jealous.
What?
Because it's literally like the fucking, like, it's hell. It's like the surface of the sun outside here right now. It's so hot. Yeah, like everything green is turning brown right now.
Oh, you know the embarrassing answer to that, though? It was the reason I was wearing a hoodie was because I was so rushed in the morning. I hadn't had a chance to like shower or anything, and I was wearing the same shirt from the day before. And because we were going into a meeting, in my head I was just like an anxious mess going, I can't wear the same shirt that I did last night on the call. And so I thought, what can I grab? I'm going to wear that hoodie. And so, yeah, it was stifling. It was really hot, but rather that than the risk of people caring that I was wearing the same shirt from the day before, which no one would have.
So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Miles. If you ever see me just wearing a plain T-shirt during these meetings, it's not a plain T-shirt. It's me literally taking my shirt off and turning it inside out and putting it back on because I haven't had a shower yet either, and don't want people to find out.
Ooh,
There we go.
Somebody
It's
does
all
the using
coming out, people.
anti-perspirant.
I love this. I love this remote work gossip.
Yeah, right.
The secrets of the trade.
Man, the chat is super excited about Stilt being like $2. So spoilers for later in the show. We'll be talking about this PlayStation sale that's going on right now. There's a bunch of great deals. I think there's a lot of good stuff on sale. Except the clear winner, the thing that you need to buy before anything else. It got a great review from us. I think all of us really enjoyed it. Stilt, usually $20, is just $1.99. 90%.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I'm tweeting this after the show. I know it's not even called tweeting, but I'm doing it.
What's it called?
Yeah,
Exon?
like
Exon.
Exon. Yeah, I got to Exon it after the show. Yeah,
Crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Zeet. Is it Zeet? You got to re-Zeet it. I don't know.
Stupid is what it is.
Yeah. That is. I mean, if there's ever one of these like discount recommendations, that's the absolute top of it. Still, I mean, what was it originally?
$20.
$20,
which was already a good deal.
If it came down to
right?
10, if it came to 10, I'd be like, that's a steal.
Yeah.
But $2, what are you waiting for, people?
Do you think this?
I mean, watch the show. Watch the show, but.
Do you think this is a natural evolution from what we saw happen last month on Quest with all of these games, putting out these 90% off codes to try to bolster their place on the store and like kickstart the reviews and all of that sort of thing?
The only difference is that on MetaQuest, I think the devs have control over their price points, don't they? And in the case of discounts, it wasn't discounts on the MetaQuest store. It was like external discount codes that then deducted it. Whereas on the PlayStation store, I'm pretty sure Sony has complete control. Like, you can't just say you want a discount. It has to be a part of it. But that isn't to say that they're offered, like, we've got a summer sale and there's some conversation of, like, how much do you want a discount? And they're like, you know what? That $2 thing worked pretty good. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next month's sales are, right?
Yeah, definitely. I wish you could buy single codes or like gift things to people because
agreed.
It's up. We'd buy 10 copies each. I think if you could do that.
Yeah, I'm always annoyed you can't gift games on, which you can on MetaQuest. And it was amazing. It's like such a simple feature. I mean, you can do it on Steam store. I'm pretty sure you can do it on everything. Just PlayStation, you can't. And just one of the many interesting decisions, as I describe it, that Sony chooses to do with their platform.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is on the PlayStation Store, what's the benefit, right? Because on the PlayStation Store, I guess the store, when you go to the PSVR2 section, automatically defaults by best selling, I guess. And so then at least Stilt will be like right there, front and center. But it's not like, the sales charts are going to come out next month and say, oh, Stilt was the top seller, right? Because from what we've heard recently, it's by the amount of money each game made, not by the units sold. So it's like Still could sell like crazy, but still not even top the top 10 charts. Although maybe it will. Who the fuck knows?
Interesting. Yeah, it might anyway, right? Because right. If it's the case that if you sell 25 copies in a month, you hit the top of the charts. Maybe still sells 75 at $2 and still hits the top of the charts.
Maybe it. Well, it's definitely working already. I can tell you that because I went over to. I saw the YouTube comments rolling in already this morning. People saying, "Oh, just checking out this game review because it's $2," or "I just bought this game for $2 and I wanted to make sure I got a good review." So, I passed the quality assurance check apparently. So.
And there's other titles, other ones that are super cheap like that too. So stay tuned, everyone. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later.
Hell yeah, you guys got anything going on? Anything exciting happening? I know, Miles, you're sort of on a mini hiatus from your channel, right? Just kind of.
Yeah, I didn't when I wasn't on the show last week. I also didn't do my Miles Dyer live show. So yeah, I took a break last week. But like the Let's Plays, they just. it's not just as simple as just setting up my live stream. Like I need to obviously do the thumbnails and like there's just a lot of little things that don't sound that big of a deal, but then there's also setting up the space and just getting things ready. And also like you need to be in a good headspace, because if you set things up and then you turn the camera on, and in VR it's a very physical, you're physically there. When people see you play a game, they want you the benchmark to be at least you're feeling average, so at least there's some room to like show whether you're enjoying a game or not. There's nothing worse than, and we've all felt like this, there's nothing worse going onto a live stream coming in with low energy when you're trying to like showcase a game. So for me it's kind of breaks are needed, and Izzard said a good joke, have a break, have a game cat. Do you have that saying in America about Kit Kat? Do you have Kit Kats in America?
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Is that what we're talking about?
Is that what they say over there? Wow, that is a long.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so long-winded. In the UK, it's have a break, have a Kit Kat. So.
I mean, maybe they say that. I don't know. I don't pay attention to advertising. Although
Interesting.
I just repeated the words verbatim from the song. From the commercial, so I guess I do pay attention to advertising to an extent.
But you like Kit Kats?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. The normal flavor. I don't need the 75 varieties that they have over in Japan. I'm good with just the.
Oh god.
Yeah. Do you know that about Kit Kats in Japan? In Japan, they license the Kit Kat name to other candy manufacturers, and so all these other candy manufacturers just make these licensed Kit Kats with different flavors, like green tea or strawberry or whatever. Over here, they don't do that. We just get the 2 or 3 standard variations.
Well, in the UK, we have, and I don't want this obviously to become a Kit Kat show.
Why not?
But just to get this out of the way, because otherwise No, I love Kit Kats, but in the UK, we have Kit Kat Chunkies. They're like chunky Kit Kat bars, and they brought out Kit Kat peanut butter chunky bars, and they are the best. They are the best. It's Kit Kat with peanut butter, and they're chunky. So good. I'll have to send you some, guys.
I couldn't even tell you if we have that or not. I don't remember the last time I went seeking out a Kit Kat bar. So. No.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to smuggle some into the US sometime.
Yeah, I'm more of a Reese's guy and Twix myself when I go for candy like that. Plus, I do enjoy a good Toblerone once in a again.
Okay, interesting.
Markio in the chat says green tea Kit Kat is amazing. So, and I trust Markio for the most part. Wes, what's happening on Virtual Strangers?
We had a good show on Saturday, which I think I talked a little bit last week about how we're changing our format, where most weeks, unless there's a really heavy release schedule, we're going to do a new release. We're going to do a classic that has either been forgotten by people or not recognizable to many of the new people that have come in over the last few years. And then if we have time for a third game, we're going to do a mod. So I don't know if we're going to do a mod yet or not this week, but the new release we're covering is Witchblood, which is it's like a Metroidvania style mixed reality game where they put this diorama in the world with you, and it's got like hundreds of hidden rooms and stuff, and it looks really cool. That comes out today or tomorrow. I think it comes out tomorrow. And then for the classic game, which there's so many to choose from, but I don't think a lot of people know about Chronos, which is a AAA VR game that came out in the early days of Oculus Rift, and it actually ties into the Remnant series from Flat Gaming as a sequel or a prequel. It's a prequel to Remnant from the Ashes. So the game, like if you're familiar with that game, you're going to recognize a lot of the areas and things from Chronos. So that's our plan for this week. If we have a little extra time, we'll probably pick a UEVR game as well to check out. But I think people like the mix of different eras of VR game last week, so we're going to roll with it again this week.
Just brought up the trailer for Chronos. This looks pretty.
It's nice. It's hardcore too, though. It's like I think it didn't get quite as popular as it should have in its time, because it's a not easy game. It's very challenging. I think it's like a role playing game with a pretty deep progression loop to it. But the hook of the game is like every time you die, not you progress in your skills, but you also age. So like eventually you're going to die of old age if you keep dying in the game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm a little
pretty
confused
cool.
by the trailer. I can't tell if it's a third person game or a first person game that is just showing it in third person to be more cinematic.
It is a third person game, and if I remember correctly, it's been years since I played it. I think it might be a third person fixed camera. Like I don't think the camera's free on it. I think it's locked.
Interesting. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
looks like it. Definitely looks like a fixed camera. Huh. Cool. Well, guys, don't forget, subscribe to both of these guys. Click the links in the description below. Subscribe to Myles over at youtube.com/Myles. Subscribe to Wes and his friends, VR Agnostic, which is going to be more important than ever as when the PC adapter comes out for the PlayStation VR2. Subscribe to Virtual Strangers as well. Let's knock out a couple of these tips before we get started. Starting with Nihilist Ryan, the game Feline with the $5 tip says, couldn't be more stoked about this Aces of Thunder news. Had a feeling they went back to the drawing board when it kept getting delayed. Yeah, man, Aces of Thunder is going to be...
I've got a feeling.
Yeah. What's your feeling about?
That tonight's going to be a good night, Brian.
Just the two of us. We'll
By the way, if you have
naked
not
if we
joined the
try.
Discord,
What? Sorry.
join the Discord. The best thing about Discord is the voice chat. It has a soundboard and you can play all your favorite songs in segments.
Yeah.
In segments. And if you don't know what we're on about, just come over, check it out. Brian will love you for it.
Yeah, we've got some running jokes over there that I probably should have squashed before they started. Now no one gets anything done all day long. The Game Cat Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5 tip says, can't watch. Work's too busy. Just saying hi. Happy West Day. And Viva la Revolution or something. I don't know. Thank you so much. Sirens on my end. I don't know if you can hear them. I do have the AC pumping. Please let me know if it's distracting because, I'm just gonna melt otherwise. So I do apologize.
Not distracting, only jelly. Makes me jelly.
Distracting.
Mm.
Ted. Yeah. And guys, I did want to say before we kind of get the show started here, please be patient with me, be patient with us. We're doing our best. Like, we didn't even know who's going to be on this show today until today, really. Obviously we didn't do one 2 weeks ago. It was just me and Wes last week. We're going to do the best we can over the summer. It's going to be chaotic, and we're all busy doing different stuff. And I'm strangely plugging away behind the scenes on multiple videos that feel like they're just never getting done. And so it kills me when I have days go by and nothing's on the channel, and I'm like, oh, dude, these people think I'm just like in a coma or something, and I just kind of pop out of it every Wednesday or something. But
You're active on Twitter though. I think that deserves to be recognized. So if you guys are on the X platform out there and you want to keep up with the day to day, follow Brian on Twitter. He's a good follow.
what are you looking at? She looks like she's gonna pounce.
You looking at me?
Turn it.
Nobody else is, so you must be looking at me.
She's got this like intensity in her stare, where she's just like, looks like she's angry at me.
She's gonna pounce on the back of your head any moment, or try.
I mean, that would be amazing. I would try to keep her there for as long as possible for the whole show. She's getting a little big for my lap, so maybe she can perch on my head. That would be fine. All right, guys.
You've been more active on X lately, Brian. You've been getting active on X.
We used to call it E, but I know the hip kids call it X. But very active when I'm on ecstasy, I think. Yes.
Generation X,
Yeah.
Generation Strange. Sun don't even shine through our window pane.
2 more people just left.
I don't get that one. Just the two of us.
We can make it if we... Okay, sorry. Yeah.
This is the show where we need Game Cats doing a tally of song references.
This is why you guys need to come to GameCat Meetup 2025, because we didn't do karaoke last time. It was one of the most requested things, and we didn't actually get around to doing it, mostly because we had it super easy and were able to hang out in the hotel lobby. But we're definitely doing it next year, and gonna make sure I bring my guitar with me so we can. We got a lot of musicians in our viewership. A lot of the Game Cats are singers, songwriters, musicians. So I want to make sure that we just have a cool hangout session. We're already planning it, you guys. PAX East 2025. Be there or be square.
And to be honest, if you can't afford the whole deal, and it's like, because things are super expensive, PAX I think was probably the smallest part of our experience last year, right? Like there wasn't a whole lot of VR going on there.
Right.
We didn't spend a ton of time there. Like we went a couple times, but we didn't. It wasn't like we stayed all day. We stayed a few hours and then bounced. Most of the fun was had outside of the convention. So don't let that stop you. If you don't want to buy those expensive ass tickets, you can still come and hang out.
Yep, I totally agree. The party's going to be every single night. I already booked hotel reservations, staying at the same hotel as last time. Was not the plan. I wanted to stay right across the street. But man, oh man, because it's 2 months later, because it's happening in May instead of March this year, or next year. That's all it took for prices to skyrocket. So getting a couple miles away was yeah, we're gonna have to do another fundraising stream because I didn't take any money from it last time, but I'm gonna have to this time. It's not like I said, it's way more expensive. But we want to make sure everybody gets there. We'll talk about that much later, though. We've got 10 months to figure that stuff out, so, which means we'll figure it out in 9 months from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
Guys, the new schedule for the summer, obviously we're down to one show, one GamesCast every week, just doing it Wednesday instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But to kind of balance things out a little bit, I started doing a viewer takeover show every Sunday, or it will be every Sunday. And this week I did it with Jon Hibbins over at SciTech Games. And that's the plan, is to just be me and one other person, a different guest every single week. Hopefully a developer who has something to announce, but obviously I'd like to showcase some smaller channels that are out there. And so get some guests on the channel who have never been on before. Anybody who's really singing PSVR2's praises, we want to give them a little bit of a spotlight. So expect to see some interesting co-hosts, maybe people you know, maybe people you don't, but it should be a fun summer, and that will be at least the schedule till the end of the summer, when I think we may switch back to the 3-day a week GamesCast after the summer, when things start heating up, when there's just too many games to do reviews for every single one. We're just going to have to do a live show every 3 days a week to cover it all. But when we had Jon Hibbins on this Sunday, he revealed
Sunday.
He revealed that Windlands 2 is coming to PSVR 2 next week. Guys, I'm assuming you guys have both played Windlands 2 previously, Myles?
Nope. I never got to play it, so I'm excited to finally experience it on PSVR 2. Whoa. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Let me tell you something. I want to bring up the trailer. Let me tell you something. I was playing the PSVR 2 version 2 days ago, seeing all the updates and getting a updated review together. And without breaking embargo, I do want to say one thing, and that is, Jesus fucking Christ, you guys, we were the most patient VR gamers ever on PSVR 1, navigating the world of Windlands 2 with Move controllers, no analog sticks, right? Only one trigger, no grip, right? I mean, just not only were we turning with buttons and bringing up our bow and arrow with buttons, and possibly losing tracking while dude, all I gotta say is thank God for Sense controllers. I don't know how we did it. Sense controllers make everything better.
And to be honest, like that, they did the best that they could with the Move controllers, and it was commendable that they were even able to bring Windlands to PlayStation 1 because of how severely limited those controllers were.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm glad you got in there and saw it, Brian. It's like it's so much better. I mean, Windlands and Windlands 2 are challenging games to begin with, and to be limited in your movement options is not helpful in that. So much more fun, and much more fun with friends, Myles. So if you need one, tag me up. I always love jumping into that game with friends.
Awesome. No, looking forward to it. I'm hoping to be blown away by it.
Oh,
4 players, online, co-op, Windlands 2. The whole thing is like super sampled. 1 point, I think he said 4x. All sorts of improvements in terms of haptics. Obviously, the Sense controllers. There's certainly a lot to talk about, and I'll have an updated review ready for embargo when that lifts. The important thing, of course, that a lot of people were asking is it a free upgrade from PlayStation VR 1? We don't see a whole lot of those anymore. The answer is yes. It is a free upgrade if you already own it on PSVR 1. And if you do have the physical version from Perp, there should be a free upgrade for that as well. So,
excellent.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Advertising crossplay for it as well. Is that crossplay with all platforms? Or just crossplay with PSVR 1?
I think it's crossplay with. I mean, I definitely saw PC gamers playing when I jumped in there. So
there you go.
My guess, I would say I don't know if it's crossplay with PSVR 1. That would be the one headset I would be concerned about. But we'll see. I'll see if I can't get some definitive answers.
That's awesome.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. If you've never played Windlands, you'll never feel. At least on PSVR, PSVR2, you'll never feel more like Spider-Man than these games make you feel. You know?
Oh, every time.
Every time
there's a grappling game.
Yep.
It's always Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. But like you feel more like Spider-Man than you do in the actual Spider-Man VR
that's kind of
experiences. I hate to be generic, but that it is like the grappling works really, really well. It's like 4 difficulty levels and shit. So, a lot of replayability here. I don't even know what's next on the Run of Show. I don't even know where the Run of Show is.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Sure
I know what's next.
Yeah. Looks like we got a pretty awesome Arken Age update this week from the team over at Vitruvius. Let me see if I actually have this. Is this it? That's not it. That's the Sky Climb roadmap. Let me bring up the Arken Age image. There it is. So Vitruvius has claimed
Platinum.
Arken. Well, they did mention a platinum, so we're doing pretty well here. 10 to 15 hour campaign.
Sold.
I'm glad to hear that. They're saying shaping up to be a 10 to 15 hour campaign. It takes about 20 hours to platinum. Along your quest, you'll experience realistic physics-based combat, unique VR weaponry, and uncover the story of an alien Nara race. We haven't gotten a price point for this, so I don't actually know if 10 to 15 hours sounds like a good amount of time. You know, if it's like a $60 game, like I don't know. But at the same time, I don't think it's gonna be a $60 game first and foremost. Do we have any guesses on 40?
$40 is what it should be. They'll probably underprice it. It'll probably be 30, but if what they're saying here and what they're projecting in their footage is what it seems to be, then this is easily a $40 game. In my opinion.
Oh man. Here, I just want to bring up some Arken Age footage. Yeah. Hey, you know what? If it's $40, great. This team certainly has been evolving pretty well, and as long as it's a fun 10 to 15 hours, great. Let's do it. But they're showing everything from climbing to swimming to all sorts of VR AF interactions. So it'll be interesting to see how well this plays. But that wasn't the only thing they said here. Let's bring this back up.
Well, they did the Alvo thing with the frame rate.
Yeah, optional. Yeah. I mean, I think I'd be hard pressed to find anybody who's not going to play it at 90 native. I guess it'll depend on, like when I was playing Alvo, I didn't really see a big difference graphically between the reprojected and the 90 native mode. Did you guys?
No, there wasn't a huge difference. But I think that's a good thing, right? Like if you can't see the reprojection, then you might want to take the higher frame rate,
Right. Yeah, and the trailers for Arken Age just look pretty stunning graphically. They've got a really nice look to them. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on like, oh, do we miss out on cool shadows or subtle animations, whatever, the grass is blowing, who knows. It'll be interesting to see what kind of concessions they have to make to get it running at 90. But yeah, to have the option, man, like this is kind of like the dream come true, right? I kind of wish all games had this, had an option for this.
That's awesome. I'm super hyped, super hyped. Can't wait to embark on a new adventure. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
The rest of the stuff they mentioned, custom adaptive triggers for each weapon to make them all feel different. An additional wave-based mode with leaderboards. They said that add quite a bit to the replayability. They said using foveated rendering allowed them to almost double the resolution. Weapons, there will be eye-tracked weapons. Sniper scopes will be blink activated. That's all pretty crazy stuff. It'll be interesting to see how that works out, because some of it sounds good on paper and then doesn't translate well as Firewall Ultra taught us. But yeah, dude, I forget what trailer I was watching. Maybe it was for Ace of Thunder. And I saw somebody, say something along the lines of like, oh, PSVR2 will be the best version out there. And somebody was like, oh, I guess you've never played PC VR games. But every time I talk to Vitruvius, I talk to other studios like this, they're constantly saying like the PSVR2 version is kind of like the best looking version out there, right? Because of the DFR, the eye-tracked foveated rendering. So, man, this looks like another must-have on PSVR 2. But I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. We do that far too often. But I'm very optimistic about this one.
But saying that, Brian, on a broader point of when we look at where we were maybe a month or two ago, there was this kind of concern. I say kind of. There was a concern about what does the latter half of the year look like for PSVR 2 gaming, but also PlayStation gaming as a whole. When we look at all the games that are coming out in the latter half of this year, I think it looks stacked.
Yep.
We have so many good quality games. I mean, it averages out more than one a month. And it's just bizarre to me that it didn't feel like that a couple of months ago. But I'm not going to start listing them now, but it's everything from Arken Age to Aces of Thunder to Phasmophobia,
Zombie
to
Army.
Wanderer, Zombie Army.
Whatever you do, don't start listing
Metro,
them now.
Alien, yeah, exactly. Not that I will list them, but we could go on.
I'm not going to add
are...
to it, but Behemoth, definitely.
Behemoth, exactly. But I mean, who's counting? But
I got 19. Ran out of fingers.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so the concern about how VR support looks, yes, you can look at it in the context of first-party games and that. At the end of the day, it's a platform. Sony has created this platform, and they've given the opportunity for these games to not only come across, but in many cases be the best versions of those games on this platform. And so I'm not saying this in a kind of we told you so to anyone out there. No, I'm sort of saying it to myself. Even I doubted it.
We totally told
and was
so.
worried. So yeah.
Anyway, they said PC testing is underway. And once the game is approved by Sony, we'll begin the PSVR 2's final testing, which interestingly, they put a space between R and 2. So we're just putting spaces wherever the fuck we want, I guess. Then if all goes well, the release date will be coming soon. So we could be potentially have this one in our hands in, I don't know. What are we in now? July? This could be a late August game.
Could be, probably won't. How many times have we heard this line?
Yeah.
That hey, all we have to do now is submit to Sony, and then we can announce our release date.
Yeah. Where's Compound?
6 months later. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Nice SpongeBob transition. Well, yeah. Speaking of a game that should have been here forever ago, or that we thought would be here forever ago, apparently even the studio said it would be here forever ago. Aces of Thunder got a new trailer, which I'm going to bring up right now. It's somewhere. I have no idea where it is. Where'd it go?
And it's in the A section.
Okay, there it is. Man, I had rendered this out so that it would take up the full screen instead of being like this tiny little like super widescreen thing. But you know what? At least it won't get cut off this time. Uh, excuse me. We'll get to the information that got revealed here in a second for Aces of Thunder. But I do have to say that this trailer, the super widescreen trailer they released, I just think it looks absolutely stunning. I know that we've sort of been saying this every time they give us another update, but man, this trailer more than anything else we've seen, just unbelievable. Like the textures on the ground, it doesn't look like it's all just flat ground, right? There's definitely some interesting geometry going on. The trees look detailed. There's all these this variety in the environments, beaches and water and forest. I mean, it just seems like there's like a lot of care put into this. I mean, this could be one of the best looking games we've seen on the platform.
Word. It looks great. And you're right. We say it every time, but it continues to improve. I mean, we were saying this in December, January, like when it was about to launch on PlayStation VR, that it looked awesome then, but it somehow looks way better now. And for the first time, we're hearing mention of, well, you said we would wait to get into the news that they dropped. So I'll let you, I won't step on your announcement, Ryan.
Well, bring us into it, Wes. The tweet that accompanied this said they were shooting for a Q4 2024 release date. So now it's smack dab in the middle of everything else. But yeah, the trailer revealed a whole lot of other stuff. What else did they tell us, Wes?
Well, most importantly to me, you know, we talked about this on our show a couple of weeks ago and kind of got into the conversation a bit about how it was being advertised as multiplayer only. And there was a ton of people in my chat saying, "What, really? If there's no single player, then I'm not buying it. I don't care. I don't play multiplayer." So it's kind of a big deal that they have revealed that there will be some single player missions in this game, and that I think is a literal game changer.
Yeah, I mean, when they said multiplayer battles or single player missions, it really made me start wondering. Like, well, they didn't use the word campaign, right? So how is this going to work? Is it going to be? Is it going to feel similar to Crossfire Sierra Squad, where you go in, it's just like a list of missions, and it doesn't feel like there's cohesion to it, or is it going to actually feel like a single player campaign?
It's going to be even less cohesive than Crossfire. At least Crossfire does have a story thread that kind of ties it all into a campaign.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll even have that here. I think it'll be more like Ace Combat 7, where you just had a few different missions that you could fly out. But I think it'll be more than 3. You know, I don't know how many there will be. There might be 5 or 6. The fact that it's here at all, I think opens up the possibility that if this is something that turns out to be really popular, that they could bring DLC in the future for it and add missions to the game. I don't expect that these missions will be tied together at all, and it wouldn't take much. I mean, all they have to do is put like a story thread between them. They could literally do this in the space of a week probably, but I'm not expecting it. It's a common thing with these flat sim games just to have missions for you to go on with an objective. So that's what I'm going to assume this is until I hear otherwise.
I mean, I guess better to keep our expectations in check. Expect the worst, I guess. Which I guess even the worst is still pretty good considering we didn't think there'd be any single player stuff. But yeah, and maybe they'll surprise us. We also get the announcement that this was coming to Steam, which I think was a big surprise to a lot of us too, because we've been hearing about this game for a year and a half. You'd think that there would have been some word that it was coming to anything other than PlayStation VR 2. And then this trailer comes out and suddenly it's like, oh, it's also on Steam, which personally I think is a good thing for a game that's heavily multiplayer focused. We want as many people playing it as possible. So not an issue as far as I'm concerned. Spread the VR love as far as you can spread it.
No, it is a good thing. I certainly find it interesting, right? That it's like something somehow changed, like maybe around January, that this longtime PSVR2 exclusive all of a sudden gets delayed a year. And then when it's right before it's about to come out, Steam support gets announced for it. I find that curious. But yeah, I agree though. Overall, I think it's a good thing for any multiplayer game to support as many platforms as they can at launch. And yeah, I think this is good for everyone.
Did we miss anything that from this? I will tell you the one thing I'll say is that I was getting the show together and trying to come up with a thumbnail or something, and it's like sometimes it's just not a great image to use for the games we're going to talk about. This entire trailer is just one awesome thumbnail. Like every single scene they show, I was like, oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to use that. No, that's more beautiful. I'm going to use that. Dude, I mean, there's near the end or so, I don't even know where it is in the trailer, but somewhere in the trailer, if they fly into this battle and there's just planes everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? It's just it's kind of mind-boggling. So I feel like I'm setting myself up for disappointment on this one. Like somehow I'm going to get in there and be like, they've already said it's going to be 90 frames native. They've already shown off the VRAF mechanics out of the cockpit. They showed more of the cockpit in here for at least one or two of the planes. VRAF interactions, you'll be able to like pull triggers and push buttons and things like that. And so like there's so many great things going on. And then, it's like, let's just tack on. We got some single player stuff to do as well. And like everything looks beautiful. We're going to get in there and it's just going to be a big fucking blur. I can just feel it. Something is going to go horribly wrong when we finally get our hands on this.
Or it turns out the multiplayer is in the trailer. You see that bit where they turn their head and there's someone sat next to him in the aircraft. That is what multiplayer is. You just get to spectate your friend who flies. There's nothing to do. Yeah, spectate.
This is a Mitch Hedberg joke in the making. I don't want to be a race car driver. I want to be a race car passenger. It's the guy who sits there and guards the driver.
Really quick before it gets biased, Macho, the real estate procrastinating game cat in the chat says, currently in the hospital.
Whoa.
Someone ran a red light and smashed my van. Neck and back are killing me, but I'm glad I have you cool guys to listen to. Wow, man, that sucks. A reminder of just how suddenly a good day can become a bad year in life. And I'm glad you're not dead. So, because that could have been something very real that could have happened to you. So,
yeah, much love, dude, and glad we could provide maybe an anesthetic for the brain with our mind-numbing conversation to help you relax. But no, dude, please take care of yourself, and it's good to have you here because sometimes when you're in a hospital, sometimes you want stuff to do. So it's awesome that you can still be connected with us.
I was wondering why you weren't trolling as much today, Macho.
Yeah,
it all makes sense now. No, we love you. Thank you. Thanks for the update, and very, very sorry that happened to you. Heal up and get better soon. We love you. Thank you, Wes, by the way, for spotting that. I've not been keeping an eye on the chat very well today. Alejandro D. 2Y Underground Stranger Game Cat member
nice.
level 3 membership. Oh, 2Ys, I'm not smart.
You remember that old chestnut? You remember that?
Yeah,
back in the old days.
We'll bring it back, man. 2Ys Fridays is not over. We're gonna reclaim that spot. I promise. Hey guys, is Aces? This is a level 3 membership tip. Said, hey guys, is Aces going to support a HOTUS? And if it does, can you recommend one? It might be on sale for Prime Day. Oh yeah, it's Amazon Prime Day.
It is. Oh yeah.
I seem to recall the developers at Gaijin saying yes, it will use a HOTUS, and then we all kind of like put that aside and said, okay, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But I don't have anything on me to confirm that this moment.
It will.
It will.
Yeah, I don't know that 100%, but they all do. I would be shocked if this thing didn't support HOTUS.
I haven't seen any great HOTUS controllers for PlayStation, like kind of ever, right? Like we always have these great conversations about racing rigs and steering wheels, the pedals, all of that, and saying, oh, like what does this one do better than that one? And oh, do you want to spend $200? Do you want to spend $500? Right? But I feel like there's like one HOTUS out there for the PlayStation, and it's kind of cheap feeling, and I don't even have one anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Roots keeps recommending this one Thrustmaster one to me. That's a little. It's around $100, maybe a little less. But he says that it's well made. It has plenty of buttons and is feature rich for what it is. I keep resisting because I don't play very many flight games, but he's telling me that it makes such a difference in the ones that you do that it's worth picking up. With regard to Prime Day, I didn't see anything like that. I didn't search deeply, but I didn't see anything like that last night, with the exception of one of the really expensive Fanatec flight yokes, the ones that attach to your table and have two grips on it. They have one of those on some kind of a Prime Day deal, but those are so expensive, I don't even really give them any thought. When I see them, I just keep scrolling, you know.
Nick Mulo in the chat. What up, Nick? Says T-Flight HOTUS 4 is the only one that works on PS5, and it's on sale, $20 off.
I find that hard to believe. There's only one that works on PS5.
I mean, listen, Nick said it. I trust Nick.
I'm not calling him a liar. I believe him. I find that remarkable.
That's not how I heard it. I heard you loud and clear say Nick Mulo is a goddamn liar.
Yeah.
No,
maybe I did say that.
Yeah, I'm just
unbelievable.
I'm just taking a look here.
You can believe someone would lie about that.
Yeah, I bet that's the one Roots was talking about. It's normally $90, which is the price point, and it is on sale on a Prime Day deal for $70 right now. So, You know what? I might just go ahead and pick this up since it's on sale, and people keep telling me to get one.
Yep.
And we have this game coming.
Nick says he's 90% sure. Okay, well, at least he gave himself a little leeway here.
10%, not a liar.
And a lot of people are going to bat for the Thrustmaster T-Flight. Saying I see Looper, Tatum, everybody in the chat saying it's great. So these are all the people I trust. I'll buy one too because I'll definitely want to use it, dude. One of the things they need to design more shit for people who live in small places like me. I want some kind of racing rig, right, where like you sit in it and here's just your steering wheel like normal, but then the whole thing flips up, and on the other side of it, when you flip it up, is a HOTUS controller, right? Because I don't have a place to other than my racing rig to attach a HOTUS to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How cool would it be just to be like, oh, flip it upside down, and there's your HOTUS. Oh, flip it right side up, and there's your steering wheel. I need that shit. Somebody get on that.
You need to patent that answer. But yeah, I think if you want a HOTUS, I think in a situation like that, if there's just one you got to go for, you got to trust your instinct. Wouldn't we agree, guys?
You trust your instincts?
That's even worse than the first one.
And let go of regrets? Do you have to bet on yourself? Because that's your best bet. Professor Lewis with the $5 tip. What up, Lilith? Says the Sunday multiplayer poll is live. Choose one of the three on sale games: Stilt, Alvo, or Galaxy Kart. Just a reminder, Stilt is 90% off. Thank you, Lilith.
Have they fixed Stilt so you can play the Fall Guys dropping down the thing on a more regular basis now? Because if so, I'm jumping back in it. That was the...
They just had an update. Because I don't know what it entailed though. There's like they keep adding stuff, and to the point where like I haven't stopped in more recently enough to be like, oh, they added this particular thing that I just keep seeing. Oh, they added something else, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
I think this game could honestly be like have a whole new like life to it if they do keep adding to that multiplayer with the Fall Guys stuff modes, because that one where you're on the platform and every time you hit one it drops. It's the most fun I've had in VR in a very long time. But it's just a shame it was a mode that you might find every 8 games. You need to, you want to dive straight back in.
I saw somebody in the chat say that they bought a B-Haptics vest. They said it's on sale, I think, for Prime Day. So
it is.
You guys have any thoughts on that before we move on? Because mine's still in a box. We'll talk way more about it next week. I just want to because Prime Day's here, I figured we'd see if it's worth it.
Wes has had a much broader experience of it than me, so I'll just quickly go first. I've used it for, and massive thanks to B-Haptics for sending me not only the 40X suit, but also the the arm bands, as I'm going to call them, so you feel the recoil when you're shooting weapons. I used it for breaches, and it was amazing. For a game like Breaches, where it's a very competitive thing, the problem with having such rumble and recoil, it makes it a lot harder to have a steady aim. So you want to really use it for simulation. You're not going to use it if you want the competitive edge, but being able to feel where you get shot is great. It really does add to the immersion. And the app they have for your phone is super easy to sync up. I was actually quite blown away how easy it was to sync up. And it's something I'm going to be live streaming hopefully on Monday. Just got a few things to sort out across. There are 4 games at launch you can play. I know Wes has tried all of them, and the verdict is Wes.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Obviously, it's hard to give them a value recommendation on something that's as big a ticket as this. Because everyone's in a different financial situation and money's worth more to everyone individually. I can say that it's pretty freaking awesome experience, and it pairs up so perfectly with the PlayStation platform because of the already advanced haptics that are built into the headset and the controllers. This works kind of like a full body extension of that. It's not just a vest that rumbles when something happens, but there's 40 different haptics points on your body, and these developers put together detailed profiles to create different effects with that. And while it does add a bit of weight and vibration to your shooting arm, it can provide a competitive advantage as well, because like he said, you can tell where you're getting shot from
That's true.
a lot better when you're wearing this. And even in like a single player game like Big Shots, one of my biggest complaints about Big Shots was the field of view, and you can't tell where you're getting hit from when these things come up behind you or on the sides. You never know it. You just kind of see it, your health going down. Now you can tell because you feel it. So when something's hitting you from behind, just the way my mom likes it, you can really feel that, and to whip around and kill it. So no, it's an awesome addition. If you're a VR enthusiast who likes max immersion, this is definitely something that helps provide that.
I love the deadpan use of that phrase.
I feel like
it's in a review.
Miles and I were just both victims of a drive-by shooting. Like, like
that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
The delivery really got me.
When I said, "What's the verdict, Wes?" I was not counting on that. No, it's a really interesting point though, because it's kind of how I feel about 3D audio with gaming. It really aids you, and when you play games, it makes you extra aware of all this information I was forgetting. You're looking at a screen in front of you, and you don't know when stuff is behind you. And to now have that with actually the haptics of your body, and especially in VR where you're physically present somewhere, those are definitely going to be really, really helpful indicators. And on the price point, and again, as Brian says, we'll talk more extensively on next week's show. It does make it very hard to recommend, because it is £600 in the UK. What is it? Is it $600 in the US, or is it a bit more?
No, it's closer to 5, but like we said at the top of the conversation, if you buy it today, it's like 430 or something like that.
So it's usually $529, and the Prime Day deal is $423, so over $100 off.
Over $100 off.
It's
and just so everyone knows, sorry, Miles, just so everyone knows, this does not go on sale often. It does go on sale occasionally, but not often. So maybe twice, 3 times a year you'll see it go on sale. So if this is something that you're interested in, you definitely should be giving it some hard thought right now.
Yeah,
it's a real premium product. It's super well made, and I feel like I'm going to get a lot of life out of it. And because it's so easy to set up, it's very easy to put on and just start playing. There will be some questions of, is it worth buying when at the moment there are only 4 natively supported games by the devs? But it's, we're in the VR space. It's the chicken or egg. It's, do you want this technology to thrive? And if so, and you can afford it, again, then if enough people get it, then they're going to support it more. But yeah,
on that note, there's way more support coming down the line on this. There are so many games on PC that are cross-platform games that are on the PlayStation Store right now that already have the profile built out for the vest and everything. So all it's going to take for them is just implementing the B-Haptic stuff into the Sony SDK, and they'll be able to turn it right on, and it'll just work. So while there's just 4 right now, I can assure you that there will be dozens more coming fairly quickly.
Guys, if they ever get it for Phasmophobia, we've got to do a 4-way live stream all wearing the haptics.
We're doing a 4-way live stream no matter what happens.
Oh, anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's definitely the next one we all got to team up for. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you're concerned about the native support at all, the only reason I'm excited about taking this thing out of the box is because the B-Haptics Fest kind of converted AJ into a Galaxy Kart believer. Right? That doesn't even have native support. He's turned the music down, he's turned the sound effects up, and he said it just makes a world of difference. I already love Galaxy Kart, and knowing that it'll just like make the whole experience even better. I mean, we're talking like for a $20 game, we're talking about like $1,300 worth of gear. Never mind
the driving rig. Use the driving rig with it as well.
That's what I'm talking about. Driving rig and the B-Haptics is about $1,300 total, and then on top of that, another $1,000 for PSVR2 and the PS5. There's $2,300 to play a $20 game in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Right. But again, like you said, we're in the VR space, so that's the kind of shit we're gonna have to do every so often. Your Long Shadows reminds us Galaxy Kart is also on sale right now as well.
And just for the record, if you buy it today, it does cost less than the console. So if that was a deal breaker for you, don't let it be.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Hey, we got a interesting tip here. If I can just find the correct window. There it is. It's Jordy Benzema. I hope I said that right with the 6 euros. Said PlayStation 5 got completely fried by a recent thunderstorm last week. Don't make the same mistake, folks. Loving the content in this PSVR-less time. Yeah, so I mean, don't make the same mistake, which means like what? Like make sure it's plugged into a surge protector or unplug it during a thunderstorm.
Get an expensive surge protector. That's
really?
what I do. I have too many thousands of dollars of equipment plugged in here to leave it to chance that something like that could happen and just fry everything. So now I will say this: I don't know if it's the case with PlayStation 5 or not. But I know with PlayStation 3 and I think even 4, they have like a safe mode that goes in when a power surge comes, and you have to leave it unplugged for like 20 minutes or something to reset that. So it'll seem like it's bricked for a while. But if you leave it unplugged for a while and then plug it back in, typically it has always come back to life, those older consoles. So it might be worth a try just to try one more time and see if it works.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that, Jordy. Glad we can entertain you while you don't have a console to use. If you get bored, Macho could use some company in the hospital, I think. Let's swing by, hang out. Today we got an update that I did not expect to be getting, and that is an update on Lo-Fi. You guys remember Lo-Fi?
I do.
The last time I remember seeing a release window for Lo-Fi, I believe it was Q4 2023. Clearly did not make that window. But yeah, over on the Kickstarter page, oh, here it is. The trailer I'm bringing up is literally the Lo-Fi official release window announcement, so we can all giggle when this pops up. But man, again, beautiful looking game. Mostly designed by just one person. This is Blair Renaud. I know that a lot of people were very skeptical when this release window popped up. And I was like, well, why would he go years without announcing a release window, and then announce one if he wasn't 100% positive that he was going to make it. So I was a believer that this was actually going to come out last year. Yeah, my fault. And so let's see. So we hadn't heard anything substantial for a while, but let's bring up the Kickstarter and see what the updates say. Oh man, this is weird. It's using it's using this weird dark mode for some reason. I can't even highlight it. Oh well, I guess we're just gonna have to read it to you. Oh man, look at that. Even on the screen, it's even worse. It's like text in front of a moving trailer. All right, OBS can suck it.
Wow, you heard it here first, people.
Yeah, I have no idea why it's formatting like that, but that's really obnoxious. Anyway, let's go through this. Do you guys have the link? Maybe we can swap off. There's actually quite a bit to read here.
Yeah.
Should be in the run of show. All right. So he says, ambitions and achievements. When we started this ambitious project many moons ago, we set out to create the definitive next-gen cyberpunk noir VR experience, visually inspired by great cinema like Blade Runner, RoboCop, and Outland. We wanted to bring the vision of Star Trek holodeck to life, drawing inspiration from great open-world games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout. We developed a deep, living world to explore and experience in full, immersive 3D surround wonderment.
Where have we heard this before?
Considering that we started with a budget of around $100 Canadian. Nope, $100,000 Canadian. That's a little bit different. What we have achieved so far is nothing short of miraculous. And when I say we, I don't just mean myself and the underpaid programmers I managed to squeeze incredible work out of for almost no money to get the world where it is today. I mean you and the rest of the lo-fi community. Your hype, pledges, and wish lists on Steam and PSN are what sustained us for this long. For that, I want to thank you personally. We're coming up on 5 years development now, which is way too long. Trust me, I feel it. Please allow me to explain where we are now, how we got here, and where we're going. Currently, we're in a minor holding pattern as we figure out our next moves. So let's talk through it together, starting with the largest and most obvious issue of budget and help in continuing through to discuss some general game development financial stuff along the way that you might find interesting. Stick with me. A lot of this might sound negative or complaining at first. No, not you, Blair. But that's not the intent. I want to be as transparent as possible about the game and company's current state and figure out with you our next step moving forward. If this all sounds really strangely worded, right? Like, why is he saying it this way? It's because it's on Kickstarter, right? So he's actually like saying these words to the backers and saying, like, hey, we're all in this together, right? Most of the time, developers wouldn't talk like this, but because it's Kickstarter, that's why. Yeah. He says, hilariously, lo-fi has been called the Star Citizen of VR by several internet trolls. This, I assume, is to imply that it's a fully funded AAA quality game in perpetual alpha state that will, quote, never come out. To explain why this is a ridiculous comparison, let's compare the total budget of Star Citizen, estimated to be around 700 million American dollars, with over 1,000 people working on it, to lo-fi with $73,000 in one full-time person. That's 0.0104% of the budget and 0.1% of the staff. Lo-fi is not the Star Citizen of anything. Please stop. I love it. That said, look how much we've accomplished on such a meager budget. Up until recently, we've been able to keep the lights on via pre-orders and PC alpha access on itch.io, but that's all but dried up, and PC VR fades into the shadows of the Quest ecosystem. Funds are dwindling, but we have some options. First, let's talk about help. I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing people who labored for almost nothing. To give an example, the typical game programmer's yearly salary should be more than Lo-Fi's entire Kickstarter funding budget. And yet we've managed to get some amazing work done in spite of that. I want to thank Mark Schramm, Noah Rayburn, and Geo, you know who you are, for their contributions to Lo-Fi, again, for peanuts or less. As of right now, though, Lo-Fi doesn't have a programmer. Unfortunately, this means a lot of things are on hold, including many in-game systems and the PS5 port. As I'm not a coder, this needs to be remedied. Don't worry, though, we're not dead. I promise. More on that later. Somebody else want to pick up on this?
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
General development cost. And I'll preface this by referencing a discussion we've had a few times in recent months. and that is the change to the Unity pricing system. The
Mhm.
Unity royally screwed its devs at the end of the year when they, without notice, changed all the terms and conditions, thereby throwing everyone into a higher pricing bracket and really screwing smaller independent developers like this. Anyway, to give an idea of burn rate, here are some reoccurring costs for bare minimum stuff outside of rent, which is 2,500 Canadian a month, food, staying alive, cell, internet, utilities, etc., which is another $500 to $1,000. So basically, he's saying that his budget's 3 to 4K per month just to live, which is fair. Unity Pro license, $2,200 a year, and this is what I was just talking about a moment ago. The definition of what pricing bracket you go into switched up from something I think was a couple $100 a year previously, now throwing all of these guys like Blair and the Masternoid guy and a few others notoriously into the higher pro bracket, and there's no way around this, unfortunately. Also, $950 a year for Adobe Creative Cloud. Oh boy, does this also suck?
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
$35 a month average GitHub data packets, definitely necessary. $200+ a month for other digital services, including Microsoft Office, cloud storage, X check. Yes, it is necessary. VPN that's required for Sony, etc., etc., etc. For a rough idea of why we can't afford help right now, an average programmer salary is somewhere between $70,000 to $110,000 a year. Side note, did you know if your company bank balance falls below a certain pretty large number, they charge you $150 a month just to have a bank account? Awesome, right? Of course, none of the above includes unforeseen costs from anything from freelance artists, assets, fees, travel, hardware, etc. Oh, and accounting and taxes. Can't forget about that. Platform fees and early access. Many people have asked why we don't offer early access on Steam, assuming that it's a good way to bring in funding. There is a larger explanation for this to do with how Steam's launch algorithm works with wishlisting, but there's also the issue of platform fees. Steam, for example, takes 30% of each sale, early access or otherwise. This is the standard fee for every platform of note, including Sony and Meta, but excluding itch.io, where we can select whatever percentage we want to give with a default of 10%. Lo-Fi is currently giving 10% to itch for each sale. Given the state of PCVR and our launch plans, we think it's best to stay on itch until the game is ready to launch for maximum impact. Wishlisters will be notified when the game is released. Grab it on day one, bump us up the sales charts, and hopefully things will snowball from there. And I'll add that this has kind of been his plan all along, is to take his meager sales from Kickstarter and itch.io and really make a splash on the store and get some real sales behind this thing. And if he goes into early access, essentially what he's saying here is he will be cannibalizing his plan and basically killing any chance that he has to be successful and profitable with this. Wishlisters, okay, as opposed to soft launching in early access and seeing a trickle of sales over an extended period of time without that big boost on the official launch day. So, what's the next move? Well, as we stated, we're low on funds and down to one very tired man without a programmer. That's me. So, we need to make some power moves. We need enough funding to hire a couple of full time people to finish this puppy off. Ideally, that means at least one full-time programmer for game mechanics, systems, and whatever bugs come along with those. Another person to port to PS5 and deal with all that is Sony, which is way harder than you can possibly imagine. Would be great, and ideally a general helper or two, someone to help with the guts of the game, missions, dialogue, etc., then a business project manager type to help keep things moving smoothly. Then we need enough money left for any freelancers, including voice actors and specialists, and just general business expenses like keeping the lights on. Basically, we need a quite a bit more money, but that's okay. I'm a resourceful guy. We're going to finish this game, and it's going to be amazing. Let's talk about our options.
You want me to
Options.
take over this bit?
Go for it. You got it.
We got options. A publisher. Honestly, I've had terrible experiences with potential publishers. If you're a publisher and want to prove me wrong, please feel free to reach out. But from what I've been able to gather from other developers and from my own interactions, most publishers are rather predatory. Much like a loan shark, they offer you money up front to pay for development, then take a percentage, typically between 10 to 20% of your profits perpetually, and offer very little in return. Keep in mind that 10 to 20% is on top of the 30% platform fee and taxes. Many offer marketing, but when you look into what that means, it's generally paying their personal influencer network that nobody has ever heard of to play your game on stream. If your game is already marketable and will grab influencer attention, this is a pretty meaningless gesture. And if it's not, then paying people to play it isn't going to help. Again, if you're a publisher, that can prove me wrong. I love surprises. So what about government grants? This is something I would love to seriously look into, but there are a few issues. Firstly, a lot of government grants and programs are also loans that need to be paid back, assuming you're profitable, which is fine, assuming they don't always want equity. Some do. The biggest hurdle here is that I'm absolutely useless when it comes to forms and bureaucracy. I would basically need to hire someone to do the grant writing for me. There's also creative issues that can be run up against here. Need for milestones, content requirements, restrictions on who I can hire, etc. Again, if you work for the Canadian government and can help out, I'm all ears, keeping in mind that I don't need a full-time job working as a grant writer. Wheeling and dealing. Along with crowdfunding, next, this is definitely my preferred route. Lo-fi is the perfect vehicle for big branding deals and sponsorship. 6-digit wish lists, a huge community hyped for launch, so much potential. Let's make a deal. I'm already reaching out to a couple of big players, brands that would fit seamlessly into the world of lo-fi and add value for all parties involved. There are no guarantees here, but I'm hopeful. Think of the brand partners in the Blade Runner films. Those are the types of things I'm looking into. Do you know anyone with some extra cash that their brands name up in lights?
How much you think it would cost to get a nice big without Parole neon sign in the world of lo-fi? I got
$1,000.
I've got like 100. Can
we could do our own little crowdfunder.
There we go.
Make it happen. There we go. Could maybe have a neon light that says somebody, and then around the city it then has the next part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. That's an inner joke. Join our Discord to find out more. I hear the guy who started Tesla and SpaceX likes video games. Anyone have a connection? How about a fizzy drink company? Even Big Pharma would fit perfectly into our dystopian vision of the future. Again, let's talk. I'm easy to find. I do like this guy's writing style. More crowdfunding. Look at what we've already accomplished with so little. Let's take it to the next level and show those Star Citizen guys how it's done with a second round. That said, it's a lot of added work. New rewards that need to be fulfilled. A month or so to build the campaign and at least a month to run it, with no guarantee it will pay off. I would love to hear the community's thoughts on this and the other options. I'm also happy to hear any options I might have missed. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts and feelings. When it's done. Famously, Cyberpunk 2077's teaser trailer from January the 12th, almost 8 years before the game's release, stated that it was coming when it's done. Though they beat us to launch, according to a majority critics and players who bought it, it was in fact not done. We will not repeat this mistake. Lo-fi will be done when it launches. It will launch on Steam and on PS5. It will be playable in VR and non-VR. It will work on Steam Deck and PC and PSVR2, and it will be dope. This I promise. Bringing this game to life is my calling. I will figure out a way. Please feel free to tell me your thoughts in the comments below or reach out with any leads. In the meantime, I'll be picking away at what I can do, or what I can, and making power moves when they present themselves. Appreciate the love and support. Blair.
All right. That might have seemed like a lot. Maybe we didn't need to go that deep into it. I'm glad we did. I actually really enjoyed hearing all of his thoughts and like really, when a game gets delayed, you very seldom have this much of an insight as to what's happening. Where is the game? Why isn't the game here yet? What's happening behind the scenes? And I totally respect the fact that he was just like, here, I'm putting all my cards out on the table. We don't know where to go next. Does anyone have any ideas? There's a certain, I mean, when you're a one person dev team for the most part, he said he was also very transparent about like all the people that were making this thing come to fruition and basically, not getting paid what they're worth to make it happen. I absolutely respect all that transparency. But then the question now is like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think that that he's going to get what he needs? Does this game have a good enough reputation? Are enough people interested that like there will be crowdfunding and it'll work, that he'll get some brand sponsorships and that'll work? Like, what I mean, what are your thoughts on all of this right now?
First of all, I'd like to say that I have a great deal of respect for what he's doing here, because during this whole spiel, and it was a lot, he barely made one small reference to what every other studio does, and that is make their game for the Quest platform. This guy is an artist. He does not want to tie himself down like that. He really is sold out on his very ambitious vision for what he wants lo-fi to be. And, finances be damned. That's what he's going to make happen. Come hell or high water, even if it takes 8 years or whatever. I have every faith that he's going to be able to deliver on this someday. And he's right. It has come absolutely a long way since launch, and he may have even fulfilled most of his original vision since then. But a lot of the landscape has changed. People expect a lot more out of games these days, and I'm sure that he's put on a bunch of new stuff into this game to make sure that it's a hit when it comes out. I think this is an effort on his part to go the routes he would prefer to go versus doing something he doesn't want to do, like getting a publisher or pitching to a VC company to invest in it. I think eventually, if it doesn't work out with crowdfunding and sponsorships, then that's what he'll have to do to launch the game. And I'm not, obviously I haven't been in their shoes. I have heard this same belief from other developers that publishers can be predatory, but there are good ones out there too that do offer quite a lot, and there are people out there that are willing to help you port your game for no money up front. Just let them have the rights and split the share of the profits when the game comes out, and they'll get that done for you. I don't know. I have every faith that it's going to come. Obviously, it's going to be a while. He sounds like he's in limbo right now because he has no programmer. So
sorry,
it'll be a while. but I believe in the project and I believe in him. And I respect his steadfastness in sticking to his vision, not releasing the game in a broken state just so he doesn't starve, which is what most people do. They either release a broken game and say we'll finish it after we get some sales, or they take it to Quest and they nerf it and ruin what would have otherwise been amazing. So I got respect for that, and I do believe in this project. Hopefully he figures it out.
Yeah, I have to say that, as was clear, Blair had a lot of personality in this, which I think goes a long way. Often when speaking with people in the industry that are ever considering doing Kickstarters or any kind of campaign where you're encouraging a community to invest in you, it's important what the product you're working on is, but it's also about who you are as people. People want to find out, like, why are the people behind this doing it? What are their values? And do I believe in their dreams and their visions? And clearly what he's done here is, with a lot of personality, showing a lot of self-awareness, has gone through all the different considerations. Some things have exposed him, as is clear in the comments from what I've read. Some people think there's been some naivety in places, but we all make naive decisions when we go on these new and ambitious journeys. And very often you would see on a Kickstarter update someone just saying, I need money, we need more people to fund it. And some people might go, yeah, want to cut to the chase. But I think actually this is the better way, which is, let's just explain where we are with absolutely everything. And these are our options. And one of them is to get more funding via Kickstarter. And whether it works or not, that's a different issue. But for all the reasons Wes has already said, I think that this will eventually come out. And I wish him all the best of luck with it. But clearly it's a difficult time. And in an age where we are seeing so much strain and pressure on the gaming industry, when you see mass layoffs, and also we live in a global economy now where people feel squeezed for their worth and what they're doing. It's hard to get a team together and make something from scratch without huge amounts of funding, because people need to pay the bills, and it's not just the bills for living, it's bills for keeping a project alive, as they listed out there. And so I think it's some really powerful transparency with that as well. So for that reason, I'm glad we actually went through the full post, because I think it just, regardless of the topic and the game this is about, I think this just sheds some light on the realities of being an independent game developer in this day and age.
Ran a poll.
And one more thing.
Go ahead, Wes.
One more thing too, with this whole idea of looking for sponsors, that might seem far-fetched to some people, but it isn't. It really isn't. If you've played his first game, Technolust, from, it was like 2016 or 2017 it came out, you'll notice brand partners being advertised in that game as well. There's a few of them. Origin PC sticks out in my mind rather heavily when I think about that. And by the way, Technolust is awesome. I was hoping for a sequel to it or a remake at some point. So hopefully he gets this thing done so that maybe we can suggest such things to him. I have an idea. Why don't you set a stretch goal of your next crowdfunding run? Put some crazy number on it. 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, whatever. And if we can manage to hit that, give us a Technolust remake after you do Lo-Fi. I'd be down for that.
I think this is the definition of putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, right? Whatever.
I know it's just wishful thinking on my part. I know.
Oh, heard, man. The more content, more games we get on PSVR2, the better. And having never played Technolust, I would definitely want to check it out. I ran a poll while we were reading this thing, and 60% of you believe that Lo-Fi will come out, but there's a whopping 40% of you out of the 100 people that voted, they're like, this game's never coming out. And I hope that's not true. I hope it's not true. The first thing I did when I read this thing today was that I hit up Mickey from Perp Games, the CEO over there, and was like, hey, listen, I don't know if you've been in touch with this guy. I don't know if you're aware of his situation, or that I don't know if you have like different deals you can make and like flexibility. But I've Perp has been dealing in the VR space for so long that I think a lot of bigger publishers come around and they're like, they don't understand the VR space and understand like you're not going to sell millions and millions of copies of this game no matter how successful it is. And so, but Perp has a great history of dealing with like smaller developers. So I pointed Perp in their direction to see if anything comes of that. But to me, this is when I see these trailers, when I see these environments, when I see just how much care has been put into all of this, it's the kind of game that you just want to like throw people who've never used VR before into, to be like, hey, remember Blade Runner? Now you're in Blade Runner. How cool is that? Right? This looks like way more of a fully fleshed out, realized world than we almost ever see in VR games. So yeah, I think we've all said the exact same thing about Blair's post. We definitely have a lot of respect for what he's doing. The fact that he's not pushing this thing out before it's ready. I think he's kind of doing whatever it takes to get it done. We're all rooting for you, Blair. Let's hope it works.
Indeed.
We're so far off the run of show. I have no idea where we are. Give me a second. What are we up to? Oof. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is an interesting kind of brutal segue over to an update on another PSVR2 game. This one less positive, I guess. This is an update on Zenith, The Last City.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's listen, I mean, I feel like this
It's been a while.
It's been I feel like this is the inevitable update we were all waiting to hear eventually. But
Well, they even mentioned it was a Hail Mary moment, wasn't it? That last update, and when I went into it, I was like, "Oh my goodness, really?"
What was the most? Remind me, Myles. The most recent update was they made a free to play game in Zenith, and then you could buy the full game
Right.
as like $40 DLC
as a
or something?
DLC.
Oh.
So wasn't it Zenith Nexus was like the new free to play? So it was like a social hub where I went into it and played with my friend, and it just felt like a mobile game version of Zenith The Last City. It was just, I was kind of shocked by it. Like the initial hub area was kind of cool, but it just felt like they were always reinventing the wheel, or like reinventing things, like when they overhauled the intro and stuff. I just felt like, is this necessary? And I don't know. I'm someone who spent 60 hours when it first came out in it, and platinum the game, loved it, and then we dived in a little bit for that awesome new location in the sky.
Oh yeah,
but
we played that together. The Celestial Tower, something, I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
that was terrifying.
This is it. If you're gonna, it was amazing. If you're gonna make a game that's an open world like this MMORPG, you need reasons for people to keep coming back. And they did say things were coming, but it's not just about adding stuff in whenever. It's about creating a rhythm. I mean, it's human psychology. You're nurturing behavior. You need people to feel the need to keep going in, doing dailies on Gran Turismo 7 to get your roulette prize card, or if it's on Knock, it's every day that you log in a row, you get even more credits for doing it, so you get rewarded for constantly engaging. And and there are games that every week you might be able to grind for a new particular piece of gear. Obviously I'm getting ahead of the main story with this, which is that they are going to stop supporting they're not going to add any more updates to Zenith. They are going to keep supporting it with bug patches and things like that, and they're going to allow it to run for as long as it can. And Ramen VR have said that they are ready to move on to a new project. I know that there's been a lot of anger in the community, but there's been a lot of anger in the community for a long time now. I think in some ways some of the anger and frustration is understandable and warranted, but then when you see it bleed into some really horrific threats of violence and stuff like that, completely unacceptable. Obviously everyone here feels that doesn't need to be said. Unfortunately, we live in a world where it exists, so we do need to keep saying it. Right. It's completely unacceptable. But my feeling on this is it was a constant. I got 60 hours out of this game, and it was a really good price point. Yeah. Zenith, I had a very magical experience with it, and I know I'm going to be dotting around a lot of points that I think everyone is going to want to elaborate on, so I'll be very quick with this, which is it came to PSVR2. I was completely shocked at how poor the port was. I in some ways, I feel it felt worse than it did on PSVR.
Agreed.
So that was a real shame. But a part of me feels that whether you feel it's because of mismanagement or not, having a clean break, there could have been just things intrinsic to the game design and the project design that they were just constantly tripping over themselves. And so if they have a clean break and they work on a new project, it could be something that learns a lot from this, and it could end up being something even more incredible than Zenith. Like, they're not going to have learned no less than they did from before making this game. And so, look, I'm not here to say whatever they make next is going to be incredible. I just think they have a real good shot at it. And from the video that they've made and released, yes, it was using a teleprompter, but it was carefully put, and they were very frank on camera about it.
Wait. Did people give him shit about using a teleprompter?
No, they no. I just thought. I mean, I just noticed it, and like, I don't know. I work in video, so I kind of feel like the positioning of the teleprompter meant you could see the eyes going left and right.
Oh, okay.
I would have positioned a teleprompter you want at a certain distance, so it looks like you're talking to camera. I'm being incredibly petty myself there. I mean, but it was like, it was still a candid like description of their situation, and so for that. I give them credit, but I'm not like admonishing any responsibility for the failings. And I don't know. It's a shame, but it's kind of like it's not a shock. I feel like Zenith was on its last legs years ago.
Yep.
If I don't even know when it came out, December 2021. So it's been a few years now.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. A lot. Yeah. But anyway, those are my jumbling thoughts on it, which is it's a shame, but expected. And I know a lot of people may not be feeling this way. I'm excited to see what they work on next because they will have no doubt learned a lot from this whole process.
Yeah. Wes, do you have some jumbled thoughts as well?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I echo a lot of what Myles says. This isn't exactly a shock. We got an early access title that was which had some promise when it launched, and in spite of that, they haven't been able to keep people in the game long enough to deliver on that promise. Essentially, a large part of that obviously is their fault in terms of the scope of the game, the amount of content that they've delivered, and the quality of their work. It seems like instead of getting better, the game just pretty much held a baseline, and then in some cases, like PSVR2, declined significantly. But on top of that, I mean, MMO RPG is a genre that requires constant a constant player base, but also constant content to keep that player base engaged. And I'm not so sure that this is a sustainable genre for VR right now. There's not very many players in VR to begin with. And an even smaller percentage of them are into this type of grindy game where you return back time after time, doing the same things over and over again to try to progress and level up your character. And then, those that do like that type of game typically expect something to work towards. So when they max their character out, this unlocks a significant portion of the game that would otherwise be unplayable and inaccessible, and Zenith just did not deliver that to players quickly enough. I know they came in with some stuff later, but most of the initial player base had tuned out at that point and didn't come back. So, like Root says all the time, with an MMO, this end game is something you have to have from the beginning. You can't come back to it later. You have to have it ready to go now, and you can bring content later, add on content, but you have to have your end game from the very start, and they just didn't have it, and therefore people tuned out, and you just can't have that. So it's sad. I do think there's a lot of merit to this game. There's some fun to be had here with your friends.
Flying was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot of awesome. It was a big map.
Yeah. Climb anything.
There's a lot to like about it. How many friends you can play with at one time here? You can bring in dozens and dozens of your friends and play at the same time.
We had our own GameCast server. Wave Rider East was like the GameCat server, so you just jump in and like immediately you just run into GameCats. It was amazing, right? It was something we had never seen before, or I'd never seen before in VR, right? It was the first time we'd ever seen it on PlayStation VR, for sure, right? And so it was a magical thing. I remember. I don't remember what I reviewed. I gave it a really high 9 because it was just so amazing to get in there, and it actually worked. We were all like, this is gonna come out and it's just gonna be a mess. And to get in there, and it was actually like beautiful, and we saw all the grass like moving in the wind, and you could just climb up on top of a tower and jump off and T-pose and glide around. Like, just existing in that world was a lot of fun. And then it's like, all right, let's get some people together and we're gonna go, go on this raid, clear out this dungeon. I think it was a big moment for VR. And if you weren't there, it's easy to be like, oh, this game's not very good.
Yeah.
Or there's not a lot here, or it's like just lacking content. But if you were there at launch and you played with everybody, it was a magical moment. And I still see people saying, oh, Zenith is so overrated. I was like, you weren't fucking there. If you weren't there at launch, you'd have no idea. You just don't understand. Because I was amazed that it even worked. And it worked so well. So I was a big, big fan. And like, honestly, Myles, you said you got 60 hours out of it. Wes,
at least, yeah.
I think I was around 60 hours when I stopped playing, which this is not common for a VR game, right? Usually, like, you can spend $30, you're going to get a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour game at best. And Zenith was $30. I remember because Zenith came out for 30 the same day or the same week as Wanderer did for 40. And it was kind of like this amazing, like, almost farewell to PSVR. It was like, hey, like, things aren't really happening around here, but here you go. Here's a couple of fucking amazing games to send this thing on its way.
I remember you guys holding it up as a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
And there was a debate going on for months after launch, which is the better game, Zenith or Wanderer. And it was only like later in the year when the new car smell started to fade off of Zenith that we came to a clear consensus on what the Game of the Year was. Yeah. But no, a lot of people were very excited and had a lot of fun. And to your point, spent dozens and dozens of hours in this game that year.
Yeah, it was a game that I just always couldn't wait to jump back into it. I just wrote a few things here I wanted to comment on before moving on. One, cooking. Cooking was fun. Loved the cooking. Yeah. Cooking mechanics were awesome. It was great. Just such a cool thing, which never got expanded upon, which was the shame. It's an example. Great base. One of the things I always think was unforgivable about it was they had an awesome bar, tavern that was a social space, but you couldn't do anything there. So you'd go there, no one was there. It was a separate place you teleported to. There was no if there were games or things you could play chess or something with someone. It would, right,
bullet it would roulette. Have been. This is what I wanted. Yes. I wanted bullet roulette to be in Zenith.
Right. This would have been really good. The second thing about the whole flying, one of my favorite things doing the game, and it was one of the aspects I was always thinking when doing other stuff, I can't wait to jump into Zenith and do this, was there were crystals, these blue crystals dotted all across the world. And if you collected enough of them, you could then go to this totem, I think it was, or a stone, and it would level up your stamina for flying. And there were hundreds of them across the land, and you would have to climb up in the most ridiculous places and find them. And it was just a fun mini game to do with friends, but it actually made you become more powerful and have the ability to just fly further and further across the map. And I thought that was actually one of the most amazing things about it. The last thing I was going to say, and it was touching on what Wes was saying regarding sustaining people with content and stuff. And this is something Wes and I were both saying before about the importance of updating the content, and as Wes was saying, it clearly wasn't enough. In part, it could be argued they're ahead of the time with critical mass with VR at the moment. It's a difficult genre to do, but it's also the fact, and again to keep repeating myself, as Wes was saying about end game content, or the end game needs to be manufactured from the beginning. Adding content is only going to have a long-lasting effect if you have the systems in place that tie it all together. Because otherwise, you've got these blips, and it's kind of you get a quick spike, and then people go again because there's nothing that's tethering it together. There's nothing that's making you gain momentum to then grind for the next thing and the next thing. I know when they added all this new armor, I'd already got the best armor in the game, and it's oh yeah, this new armor you can get, you've got to start from scratch. All that material that I didn't use for the entire 40 hours and then used to do all the best stuff, it was now redundant, and there was no way of transmorging it and things like that. And actually in the video the developers released, they touched upon this. they said throughout the video on several occasions they would do updates listening to like the top 10 things the community requested. They would see a spike in players for like a day or two, and then it would drop down again, and it would never recover. People would come back, check it out, and they would go. Now, it'd be very easy for us to say that's just because they haven't got the systems in place and that. It's also because we're in a highly competitive market when it comes to VR gaming. But I do think that was a part of it. And so there is no doubt that a game like Zenith is going to absolutely dominate in the future in VR. It's just a matter of time. And I think a lot has been learned, and I commend Ramen VR for making me believe that this kind of world is possible. And it will happen again. It's just that it was a moment in time, and it's going to be a while until we see something as special as that
It'll be
made
a
again.
while.
It'll be a while.
I love you guys so much.
No, the bottom line is for a game like this, you have to sustain from day one. You can't
Yes.
let your players go. You have to keep them invested 100% of the time, because every time that you let people get disinterested and then try to win them back with updates, you lose a percentage of your player base. So you do that a few times and there's just nothing left. So yeah, it is what it is. Again, a very difficult genre to succeed with today in VR. A few years from now, maybe a different story.
Yeah.
But they're definitely ahead of their time.
Yeah. So in case we buried the lead too much, that video we were watching, 7-minute video, Ramen VR talked about kind of like where the kind of the whole history of Zenith. Talked about everything that they tried to keep players engaged. They talked about mistakes that they made. They talked about hindsight being 20/20 and things they would do differently. But ultimately, August will be the last content update. And as Myles already said, they'll continue to do bug fixing and keep the servers up as long as they possibly can. But from that point on, they're focusing on their next project, which I cannot imagine will be an MMO. There's just I don't think that'll be. I think they are aware like this is not the time for an MMO. But we'll see. Best of luck to them in the future. Guys, the next two news stories are about new PSVR2 games that were announced this week. Starting with
This week.
Starting with something that I'm hoping Wes has some knowledge about. That's a game called Dark Sword Battle Eternity. Just popped up for wishlist on the PlayStation VR2 section of the PlayStation Store. I did a little look at the Steam page to see what we're in for. But why read the Steam page when we have a Wes Dillon present? Wes, what do you know about this thing?
So from what I didn't know was that there's a Steam page for it. Is this game out on Steam, or is it just is it just coming?
It must be on Steam because there's already a couple reviews. I say it's mixed reviews, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that I guess it's completely broken on the index, and so everyone's just like broken on index.
Well, that'll do it.
Yep.
No, I say I'm not familiar with the PCVR version of this game, but I did play it on Quest. Came out a couple years ago on Quest. What was quite popular at the time that it came out, and even to the point where we had people in our community nominating it for Game of the Year. They liked it that much. It is a fun game to play. It is an arena, like a melee battle game. It's not just melee. It's like swords and sorcery, right? Like you're fighting. You can. I think the biggest selling point of the game is the fairly deep progression system where you develop your character's attributes and upgrade your weapons and your magic and stuff and become more powerful run to run. It's one of those games that you die to become stronger over and over and over again.
Wait, are you calling it a roguelite without calling it a roguelite?
I tried not to, but it kind of is. The levels are fixed. They're not procedural, but the enemy layout, the enemies that you fight each time vary slightly, very slightly, but they do vary. And then again, you have to die to become stronger, and you will die a lot with this game, because especially at the beginning when you're weak, it is very, very difficult. You're going to get your ass handed to you. The structure of the game is they put you in a tower. It's like a circular tower. Each time you clear a level, the floor acts as an elevator, and it takes you up to the next level of the tower until you get to like level 10 or 12, where you'll fight a boss. You kill the boss and you start in a new tower all over again. I think there's even mini bosses in this game. There's a good variety of different enemies. Variety being a strength of the game. A variety of enemies, a variety of weapons, a variety of magic. This game would have been a much bigger hit, but Dungeons of Eternity came out not long after it, and it kind of siphoned off all of the hype that this game had. Went into that game. But it's good. It's a solid game. I don't like the fact that it's arena based. You know me, I like to explore levels.
Same.
But the gameplay is good and polished. The progression system is there. It's definitely addictive, as it needs to be, to get you to come back and play it for more. And it supports co-op. You can play with another player in here to take on these dungeons together. But it doesn't just automatically support co-op. You have to work your way through the progression to get to the point where you unlock co-op.
Oh, okay.
Which means making it entirely through the first tower, which will take you hours to do. So don't just think you're going to hop in here on day one with your buddies and start playing. You're going to have to put some time and effort into it and level up significantly before you can bring players in with you. But it's good. It's fun. It's addictive. There's a lot of content. I think people will enjoy it if they like this sort of game.
I got to be honest,
Interesting.
man. When I first read through the Steam page, I was not excited, because they were advertising this thing as like an action RPG, and a lot of people were like, it's not really RPG. It's more like a wave shooter, but with swords. And it's like, oh man, I don't know if I'm like really feeling that. But it sounds like the progression system is pretty deep, and playing with friends could be a lot of fun. So, maybe not a must-have, but it may be a kind of excited sort of have.
It's above average. It's an above average game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
This is the only thing I'm going to say to this. And I don't know how many GameCats played this. It was a launch title for PS5, but Godfall, beautiful to look at game. It was very repetitive and wore off quite thin, but it had some great modes where you go up in a tower and you fight floor by floor. You choose what room to go into. And to be honest, I played the game for many more hours than I probably should have. And I think if there's a game that you can, yeah. And I think if this is a game that you can, so it's multiplayer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there we go. I think I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a go.
Listen, I mean, I spent a ton of time with Swords of Gargantua, with Altair Breaker. This seems like it has a similar thing going on here. So
it's a good comparison, actually.
Sweet, good to know. Good to know. I still gotta get through Soul Covenant. The multiplayer in that game was broken for a while. I heard they fixed it. I'll have to get in there with my crew, and play that at some point. Joey Katz, 33 with the level 1 membership, says, sorry I'm late. I'm in the shower watching.
Nice.
Yeah, make sure you watch everything.
Behind your ears.
Yeah. Lift up everything, move everything. Right? Make sure it's a thorough cleaning, Joey Katz.
Use a washcloth.
Yep.
More than 3 times and it's not considered washing it anymore. Just saying.
Living Legend with the Canadian $2 tip says, happy West Day, Game Cats. Can't wait for Behemoth. Same. That Red Band trailer that came out recently.
Oh god, that Red Band Behemoth trailer was awesome.
Yeah, I guess. Like, listen, I mean, I get that there's a whole market for it. Maybe I should just be playing this while we're talking about it. I get there's a whole market for
faces off.
What's that?
Chef's kiss. Just seeing the face just come off. It's awesome.
Yeah, listen, there's a whole market for I've just downloaded 4 different times. One of them's directly from Skydance, though. Is it this one? Yeah, of course, it's the 4K one. It's like taking up the whole screen. Let's try that again. Yeah, there's a whole market for, things that we'll just play the IGN one. How about that? Is that okay? There we go. At least it'll fit on the screen. There's a market for people who are like just, into the gore, into like the decapitation system. I want to slice off the face, right? It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, right? But this trailer did nothing more for me than the previous trailer did. I was like, okay, cool. You're going to see some cool stuff while you're going through this, and you're going to be able to kill enemies in interesting ways. But I'm like, this isn't the stuff I want to see more of. I want to see more of like the exploration stuff. Like, what are we going to be able to? What's the stuff we're going to be able to find in order to craft? What are we going to be able to craft with the stuff that we found? Like Wes's demo of it that stuff was pretty minimal in the demo. But like, is it going to get more elaborate later in the game? I want to know what we're doing when we're not fighting enemies.
Go ahead, Myles. Sorry.
I was just going to say the trailer, like sort of joking aside about the face slashing. I thought it was cool because it shows you the different ways you can manipulate your environment. Obviously, enemies is a big part of it, so it's like knocking them off and then hitting them with a bow and arrow, like the quickness of it. And maybe I am mistaken, but I think there were a couple of things in there that weren't shown before, like using the sort of the grapple to pick up weapons off the floor.
Yeah,
which was like an awesome thing. So, but I'm with you. Like, how much more does it actually tell us about the game? I thought it was more of a mechanical, like mechanics piece, which I appreciated, and it did show a bit more of the climbing, I think, as well.
I think the goal of the trailer was to start to introduce people to the lore and the story of the game. I think the monologue sets up the kind of foundation for what the narrative will be when you play it. I think it was an amazing trailer. I think it was awesome. I think that it's going to be a little bit less exciting for people like us who are like ultra enthusiasts and follow every little minute of everything, because most of the footage in the trailer is cut directly from the 10 minutes of B-roll that they let everyone show last month.
exactly.
So everyone's already watched this same footage like 20 times over, so they don't really see very much that's new here. So for us, that might wane our excitement just a little bit, but I think for casuals that aren't watching every VR video that comes out, this is going to be a very effective trailer, not only to show off the different styles of action that you see in the game, but again also by introducing people to the main character and his backstory.
Jurassic Ed with the level 2 membership says, "Rip Zenith. I had a great time with it. Even the cooking was fun," as you mentioned, Myles.
Cooking was so good when you put the
never did
noodles.
The cooking. I never did the cooking. People kept saying, "Oh, you got to do the cooking. You got to do the cooking."
Yep.
Can make a
It just
smoothie.
It didn't look fun to me. Like I don't want to play. I don't like cooking games, and I don't want to cook in my RPG games. So.
Well, if we're ever in Zenith, I'm going to make you a smoothie. You don't have to cook it. I'll
Okay.
cook it for you. I'll make you a little smoothie.
Sure.
I feel like there was a day that I was in Zenith all day, and all Myles did was cook for people who were walking by. Is that a real memory?
Because I was trying to level up my cooking stuff, and you know what happens when you max out your cooking skills? Nothing. No, you get an extra star. It probably did something. It was such a disappointment, and actually, it was glitched because it was supposed to be once you've cooked something so many times it goes up, and a lot of times it wasn't going up. So I was cooking a lot of ramen noodles. It was good fun, and yeah, it was good. Can't cook in real life, but I can in Zenith, so I'll put that on my resume.
Listen, if anytime a developer wants to throw something into their game, I mean, there was like a whole additional mini game, like this whole other thing that you could do in Zenith that, like, again, Wes never fucking cooked. It's like, you don't have to. But
No.
the fact that they did it and they made it VRAF is like, even little things like, oh, here's a carrot or whatever I just put on my chopping board. And it actually slices where you slice the knife. And it's just like these little things that really add up and be like, oh man, it really felt like a full-fledged experience. Yep.
Flip in the pan and it was so good. And what was great, Brian, was when you got to like the end boss. I'm talking about on the original first edition of the game. I don't know if it changed. Once the boss, you had to kill the boss in a certain amount of time, or it would despawn. Or if you killed it, it would come back a bit later, and I think you'd have to wait like 20 minutes. And so you had this massive platform there, could be up to like 40 plus players. And so while you're waiting, everyone gets out their cooking stands, and everyone starts cooking dishes, because different dishes give you different buffs. And so then as the boss reappears, everyone's like, right, let's do it, and everyone's getting out smoothies and like feeding it to everyone, going, have this, this is needed for battle. And it was amazing. It was
Can you
so
just like
cool.
shove it in
so
other
cool.
people's mouths and stuff?
Yeah.
Just like force feed them.
Yeah, good force feed.
Yeah.
Important mechanic.
Grandpa's Barbecuer Game Cat with the 5 Australian says off topic. Perfect. That's what we like. I saw a Unity injector is in the works. Given the problems some devs have had with Unity, is this likely to be as good as the Unreal injector? Wes, take it away.
It's not ever going to be as polished as the Unreal injector. I don't think that has anything to do with Unity being difficult to develop for or anything like that. I mean, I think for a number of reasons. One, there's just not as much that as far as the kind of tools that build out the Unreal injector, there's not as much of that stuff in Unity. But beyond that, this is a side project for Raiku Parda, who now has a full-time job at Flat to VR Studios. So he's only working on this in his spare time, and it's coming along quite slowly. But it is somewhat functional even right now. Like there's nothing in there to implement full motion controller support automatically like UEVR. But you can load VR into a number of Unity games right now and play with the gamepad, which is pretty cool in and of itself. I do expect it to get significantly better with the number of tools and features being added into it, but the Unreal injector is just such an amazing thing, with like literally hundreds of different settings and features and things that are added into a very polished user interface. And I would be surprised if the Unity ejector, got to that state anytime soon. Like maybe we're talking years down the line. It might be something that can rival the Unreal injector, but we are in the very, very early stages of it right now, and it's something that's only getting worked on very slowly because Raiku Parda is working on bringing other games into VR officially at the moment.
And for more information, make sure you subscribe to Wes and his friends at Virtual Strangers, who will constantly keep you updated on all things PCVR.
Word.
DJ Low with $5, £5 says, love watching you guys. Are any of you having fun with Captain Toonhead? I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I've not heard anyone talking about it. DJ Low.
Not out over here yet.
Is it not out over there?
Unless it has since I last checked, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, feel free to check.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, Captain Toonhead was the main topic of conversation during in March
PAX
when
East.
we had the PAX East Game Cat meetup, because it was like one of the only PSVR2 games on display, and no one was manning the display. And so basically, and the game wasn't even working. I think AJ had to like go and like make the booth work properly.
Yeah.
And so we had we talked a lot about that booth and a little bit about the game, but I don't think, I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Have any of us like spent actual significant amount of time with that? I didn't, because it came out during PAX East and we were all gone for like that week, and I just never got caught up from leaving. I guess you have your answer, DJ Low.
It's not out yet.
Okay. I kind of got lost in the chat with Looper here.
Oh, what's up, Looper?
No, I'm glad to see someone else is enjoying Captain Toonhead other than myself. I was expecting it to be a little bit more warmly received on PSVR2. Full disclosure, I haven't played it on PSVR2, so I don't know how the port went. Assuming that it's the same game that I played on Quest, I thought it was a very fun take on tower defense. The fact that they've added in this kind of first-person shooter mechanics into it, and allow you to get down on the ground level and traverse the map from node to node and literally defend your towers by hand. I thought was a lot of fun. Beyond that, I like the aesthetic. I like the comedy in it. I think it's a solid game, and I'm glad that someone else is enjoying it as well.
I think the name's all right. That's all I can say about it.
I think we debuted this one on in 2019 or 2020 on the PSVR award show and Without Parole. They made this whole special introduction for our for the award show, and then it legit never came to PSVR 1. It might have launched side by side on PSVR 1 when it came to PSVR 2, but I don't even know. And see, this is the thing. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of these games where like you talk about it for so long, you hear about it for so long, they promise it's coming for so long, and then it finally comes out, you're like, oh, is it out yet?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It feels like it's been a while. It feels like it's been out for 2 years. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if I even own this game. I have no idea. But
I don't.
Glad to hear you're enjoying it, DJ.
Oh, it is out in the UK. Okay, that's good. Right, I'm gonna speak to them because last time they said sorry, it's not out yet.
You weren't like, hey, I have a North American account.
No, I couldn't confirm or deny, Brian. Couldn't confirm or deny.
All right, well, add it to the list, Miles. Yet another game you got to play.
Yeah.
All right, the last news story was about Dark Sword coming to PSVR 2. That was the actual last news story. The next news story is about another game coming to PlayStation VR 2. And it is called, let's get this right, it is called Whitewater VR. It was
announced.
God, what's the full name of it? Crap. I thought I had
announced. It says here, it's called Whitewater VR announced / wish list.
That's very not helpful.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Thank you so much, Miles.
Good SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Is
SEO
this,
there.
Whitewater VR Extreme Kayaking Adventure?
That's the one. And here's
Is that
trailer.
really the full name?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, listen.
What do you do in it?
It's a one-on-one fighting
game. You struggle to go
struggle.
forward and not spin around and run in the rock.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
You got to not get your head smashed in. Awesome, love it.
Listen, it sounds like Wes has played it, and so I'll be interested in hearing how much of what I think is true or not. But it looks like the visual fidelity is on par with Kayak VR Mirage, but it looks like it's giving us the thing we've wanted from Kayak VR Mirage since launch. Not the multiplayer, but lots and lots of rapids, lots of more exciting, fast movement, just dealing with rapids. And then we waited all this time for Kayak VR Mirage to give us that, and then they gave us Socha Valley DLC, and it was legit like 5 seconds of the entire new map. And I was, I'm glad it's there. I'm glad I get to go off of Waterfall, but this looks like a whole game. That's that.
Yeah.
All right. So how much of that's actually accurate, Wes?
So caveat here. I'm assuming that this is the same game that I played a couple of years ago in early access. I have not played this recently, but I did play this, if I'm not mistaken, and mistaking it for another title.
There is another one out there, another Rapids game out there. I just forget what it's called.
Yeah, well, the one that I remember was called Whitewater VR something another. So this is probably it.
Were there boxes that you had to smash in it to get time?
No,
because there is in this one, I think.
Yeah. But no, you kind of nailed it from the game that I played. It's constant rapids, and it's kind of like a simulator. So it's not easy. It's very difficult from the start. To get a grip on how to kind of control yourself. The rapids are rapid. At that time, it was a good looking game visually. I wouldn't put it on par with Kayak, but it was pretty close. I mean, it was a good looking game. Again, this would have been 2 years ago or longer. But no, you're right. In terms of gameplay, this is kind of what a lot of people were asking for after that last update from Kayak. They wanted a lot more than that, but this is way different a way different experience than even the rapids were in kayak. Like this is a pretty intense whitewater rafting game.
According to the listing, it is single player, which is disappointing, right? Because that's the other thing we wanted from Kayak VR Mirage, and it would have been amazing if this game just came along and like ate kayak's lunch, right? And just was like, hey, we're giving you everything that everybody asked for right off the bat. But 5 environments, and you can tell from this trailer, like they're very varied. And hey, I think this is going to be a nice compliment to the PSVR2 library, like to give people, at least some people, what they were looking for. I like the idea of it being, obviously, Kayak VR Mirage was about racing to the finish line, but when you're actually moving this fast and you're hitting these boxes for time bonus, there's something way more exciting about this to me than Mirage had to offer. So yeah, coming to PlayStation VR 2. It's available for wishlist now. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Race against the clock as you navigate through wild waters filled with obstacles.
Woo. Filled with obstacles. But the big wooden boxes are not obstacles. Those are time bonuses. All right. And that brings us to the PlayStation Network sale that just started today. This is what we started the show talking about. Everyone was really excited about getting Stilt for $2. That is definitely part of this. So if you're looking for some more deals, stay tuned. I'm bringing up the sale listing, the sale page right now. This isn't what I was looking for, but here we can filter on the fly. Let's see. We definitely want some PSVR 2. And can we filter even more by price? Low to high. All right, here we go. VR pigeons for 49 cents. Any takers? Any takers?
Oh.
No. We're just going to go through the super cheap ones, then we can talk about some of the bigger ones. Cave Digger VR is only $1 instead of $10, 90% off. 90% seems to be the magic number today. Towers and Powers is 90% off. It is $1.69 instead of $16.99. Operation Serpent is 90% off, so it's $2 instead of $20, and Stilt is $2 instead of $20 as well. Any of these jumping out at you guys, other than Stilt? Obviously, we all sang its praises earlier.
Towers and Powers. That was kind of the headline for me when I saw that initial post about all of these 90% off games. I mean, Stilt's exciting and it's really good, but I feel like a lot more people already have Stilt.
Sure.
I don't think as many people have Towers and Powers, and I think that it was a really polished and fun game to play for a couple of bucks. I think it's a no-brainer.
I think that was when we
agreed.
You and I played, Wes, for a episode of GAMESCAST at one point.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I knew that I kind of like rushed to get like 4 or 5 stages done. I had a lot of fun with that. That is definitely I mean, I should probably be making Brian bites for all these sale games just to let people know that there's some good stuff worth picking up. Towers and Powers was great, especially for the price and for $2. I think it's a great deal.
Yep, I agree.
Myles, I'm assuming maybe both of you guys played Operation Serpents. I feel like for another $2 game, is it worth $2?
Yeah, I think for $2, yeah. I mean, I had some fun with it, but there was a lot of jank to it as well. It's one of those things of, because it's $2, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Like, you just never know what you're going to find, and it might be a fun one to put people in for their first VR experiences of it's very straightforward. You know exactly what you're doing from the get-go. I'm just having a look at some of the other stuff because there is so much on sale. Oh, Koi Koi is on sale, 20% off.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't know if I can recommend that though. Yeah, Alvo VR is 50% off. If you're ever considering it.
I would love to know people are still playing Alvo.
The Last Clockwinder is 40% off. So it was $19.99. I don't know what to $11.99 in the UK. I don't know what that is dollars wise. It's probably like around $15, maybe a bit less. The Last Clockwinder is a game I often feel is overlooked, and although I didn't put it in my top 25 this time. I did have it on the previous. It's a beautiful game, and it works so well in the VR space. And there was a game I played at Fast Travel Games that had a very similar game mechanic that came out on Quest. And I was really excited for it to come to PSVR2, and it hasn't. I'm actually having a look at what the game is. We Are One, it was called, which had a slightly different art style. But I have to say, from the beginning of The Last Clockwinder, it's a very beautiful game and a really amazing sort of world building, because you're kind of in this like massive tree that you're working within. And it's the fact that you're not just programming robots to do patterns again and again, that like throwing something from one to the other and making a chain. They actually interact with multiple floors. So when you complete one level and then you go to another level, it has like a knock-on effect. And so there's a lot of intricacies. The only negative I have to say about it is that there's no platinum, which I think for a game like that is a damn shame. But The Last Clockwinder, I think, just because it doesn't really get spoken about a lot, I'd strongly recommend giving that a C2. Obviously, check the trailer first. I've done a Let's Play on it if you just want to make sure if it's the game for you. But yeah, super cool.
No, I agree with you. I completely back you up on that. And of the two games, I definitely think Clockwinder's a better game even than We Are One was. It is extremely polished, high quality puzzle game. So I agree. It's overlooked, and more people should be talking about it.
I saw somebody in the chat asking about B99 overclocked, if this is the right price for it. There it is. Random
50%.
Toxie. What's up, Koi Koi? B-Haptic Vest Cat. Good stuff. Yeah, 50% off. It's $7.49 instead of $15. Listen, it took me a long time to get into B99. Like, I was just not feeling it at first, especially since like I was playing it before launch or day one or whatever it was, and it was just like it was kind of there were issues that kept me from being able to play it. And since then, it's gotten so much better. Like, really so much better. If you like roguelites, if you like that whole Tron Neon World type thing, like, I mean, it's just kind of like this game that you just want to like lose yourself and like zone out and just kind of like let your instincts take over. That's just the kind of like old school arcade vibe I get from it. And I think this is a great price for it. $7.50, obviously worth taking a risk if you're not sure. I also saw somebody say I should do a sales video, which I haven't done in forever, but they always used to kill it.
Yeah,
views.
it's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. So they
used to love doing them as well.
They're brutal. They are absolutely brutal, because I'm basically writing 80 mini reviews. Like in the edits are terrible, but this is such a good sale.
I've noticed they do a lot less sales now. You've stopped doing those videos, because that's what they always used to do. Is like they do the sale, you do the video, and then they go, let's do another one. So he's going to do another sale video.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've got a few projects in the works right now, but like very few of them can't be pushed off like another week. So maybe I'll make a sales video. Maybe that'll be my focus this weekend. There's a lot of good stuff here. I mean, Thumper,
Townsman VR.
Yep,
75% off,
dude.
That go for it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling this. It's the first time I've looked through it. Can
I just say, Gorn, even though it's 50% off, stay away. It's broken. Like, the sound doesn't work in it.
Have they still not fixed this game? Are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure. I'm willing to be corrected though. Yep. Galaxy Kart 30% off. What?
Dude, listen, Galaxy Kart, I think it's worth it at full price. I think we need to support these developers. They're just, I think we hold off on Skyclimb, right? Don't buy Skyclimb right now. Wait for Skyclimb. They put out a roadmap. Just wait for them to add all the stuff that we need to add. In the meantime, pick up Galaxy Kart for 30% off. Dude, Townsman, I got to say this about Townsman. I always thought $40 was a lot for Townsman. I think it's a good game. It felt like a $25, $30 game to me, right? But so for $10, definitely the time to pick it up.
Look, you guys. I'm sorry.
Go. I was just going to say, Before Your Eyes, 40% off. So it's £7, which is going to be like $8-9. Mm-hmm. I just got to say that Before Your Eyes, I just think is a must experience VR title, but it is like it's not replayable. It is just like a 90-minute, 1 hour interactive novel. You're
the trophy guy. Did they ever fix the platinum? To fix the trophies in that game?
Some people have been able to get it. It's still not working. It still says I haven't completed the game when I've done it twice. And just to let you know, I've played it twice because I wanted to play it twice. One for my live stream and one I played already. Both times in absolute tears. If it's one you've ever been on the edge for, I think when at 40% off, that's, you know, it's good to dive in on that. It's a very special game, and it's a game that I wish I could show more of my friends when they come over to check out VR. But the idea of like putting them in a headset and saying I'll see you in 90 minutes is kind of it's not really feasible.
Right. Let me know when you're in tears.
Yeah.
I will say before your eyes, like it didn't hit me the way it was supposed to. Like I cry at everything. Like I am a crier. I cry at commercials sometimes, and for whatever reason, like before your eyes, like made me tear up a tiny little bit, and I was just like, this did not hit home the way it was supposed to. And so I do have a feeling though I'm in the minority on that, and so I do hope that people give it a try and see if it hits them the way it's supposed to, because I do think there's something very solid there.
Wes, sorry, before I interrupted Wes.
No, I was just going to say, you guys keep going to these, these hidden gem type games that are on exceptionally low prices right now, and things that people might have missed the first time around. But I just want to point out that the vast majority of must-own PSVR2 titles are on sale right now. Yep. The best games on the platform, many of them are on sale right now. For example, Resident Evil Village is $16 right now.
That's crazy.
Which is ridiculous.
Yep.
RE4 is also on sale for $30. Hellsweeper is $18. Wow. Like that's a lot of game. As is Red Matter 2, also $18. Seventh Guest, also $18.
Wow.
Demio is on sale. Walkabout's on sale. The Room VR, Star Wars, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, Moss bundle on sale. Like almost all of the really great games are on sale right now. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you don't have Moss Book 1 and 2 for $25.59, you should definitely be picking up. No Man's Sky. Listen, like we're not talking about the No Man's Sky update because like I don't think any of us played it. But I have heard from people all day long that like it's got frame rate problems. But just this is the time to pick it up. I think if you're interested at all in No Man's Sky, $24 is an amazing deal, especially since it's usually $60.
Usually $30. It goes on sale a lot for $30.
That's true. I have seen it for $30 a lot. Yep.
But it's $24 right now, so I mean, you won't see it less than that very often.
Yep.
Even Across the Valley is 60% off, and like that game was so chill, man. It was so chill. I had a great time with it. It was just such a great, and I've just realized that the cow on the cover is wearing a PSVR2 headset. They've added that, dude. Can you get that on screen, Brian? Hold on, that is hilarious.
It's on the first page. Here it is. Yeah, that's funny. I don't remember that being there before.
That is amazing. That alone is worth a purchase, though. I mean, Across the Valley was a chill game of like every day I would just log on and do like a day on the farm and then go on something else. And I don't know, there was something very therapeutic about it. It's not complicated. There's not a lot there, but it does have a grind mechanic, and it's just a really charming, simple game. Again, you can check my Let's Play to see if it's for you, because I know it's not going to be for a lot of people. But I mean, what are the best cozy PSVR2 games are there? I'm talking like generally now, not necessarily in the sale. Like games that you can kind of switch off to, and like
Little Cities.
I mean, Gardens. Oh yeah, Little Cities is actually an excellent one. That's a shame it's not on sale. Garden of the Sea. I wish I actually played a bit more of it. I need to get back to that.
Same.
Math
World.
Toy Trains. What the Bat?
Toy Trains is very cozy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
What the Bat makes me want to kill somebody, so I don't know if that's cozy.
That's pretty cozy.
Yeah.
I'll point out something else too. In kind of doing the crash course on B-Haptics this past week, it reminded me just how good Legendary Tales is. And I know that a lot of people got priced out of Legendary Tales because it's like $55 or $60 normally. It's on sale right now, and it's down somewhere in the 30s, I think. So,
final page here. It's 30% off. So it's $38.49, so you get a full $16 off. I mean, listen, I went to bat for Legendary Tales and admitted, hey, yeah, it's a fantastic game, but it feels like a $40 game. But it's just so good. It was so good that I was like, oh, don't let this one, slip between your fingers.
Although I'll point out that it is listed as a PS Plus premium game. So if you're going to drop $40 on this game, you might want to just go ahead and get premium for a year instead and play it along with a number of others.
Well, just to be clear, because I just clicked on it, I think the premium tag is because it has a game trial if you own premium. There's quite a few. There's quite a few of these
cheeky.
games. Yeah. So, but hey, if you do happen to have premium, get the game trial. Right. Find out if this game is for you. Unfortunately, I don't. What does it say? You play 2 full hours of the game. I think that's got to be enough, right, for it to click with people. Because it took a little while for it to click with me, but I think that's enough. I think that's enough time. It should work.
Can I also give a shout out to Gun Club VR Reloaded, 50% off. Gun Club I never played on PSVR, so PSVR2 was my first experience, and I went into it thinking, okay, a shooting game where you're shooting cardboard cutouts when you could be shooting like actual enemies. Is this really going to be good? It is so good. Like, the grind is great, being able to upgrade your weapons. The levels are so short. There's just a lot of engagement in there, and I think you pay a little bit more if you want the SWAT DLC as well. But Gun Club, there's a lot of content there. The weapons feel amazing, really good haptics, and I just had to give that a shout out.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was about to change the game, so go ahead and talk about
it. I thought, having reviewed Gun Club on PSVR 1, I was like, is this really the game Binary Mail should be bringing to PSVR 2? Like, why not Rush VR? Why not like one of their other games that like really would, like grab people? I jumped into the PSVR 2 version expecting to be like, oh, not this again. And I loved it, man. Like, the super high res, great frame rate. Like, it felt good to fire those guns. Yeah, great game. It's a good choice. Sorry, Wes. Go for it.
Next game, Wes.
So while I'm going to point out 3 really quickly.
Awesome.
Since we're doing shout outs and honorable mentions, if you're a PS Plus member, VinVR Adventures $10 right now. Very Bad Dreams is also $10 right now, and a game that I don't think a lot of people checked out. But if you're a fan of classic retro gaming like I am, I really enjoyed the vibe and atmosphere of being in Colossal Cave. It kind of really did a great job of mimicking that old point and click adventure style game that we saw back in the early days of PlayStation 1 and like PC gaming. So I think now's probably a pretty good time to check that one out if you're from my generation.
Yeah. Always respect your views, Wes, but I am going to say I did not get on well with Colossal Cave. I felt like it was very tedious. I did not.
It was.
I think playing it like on maybe like a Steam Deck or a PlayStation Portal would have been my preferred way to play it. It didn't look very good in the headset, and so I think I would just preferred to play it on the flat screen. And I think we've talked about Ven enough. I'm really looking forward to Max Mustard because I didn't think Ven was a very good platformer. But Very Bad Dreams, however, really Very Bad Dreams, that's gotten about 1,000 more patches in the last 6 months. So I am going to start ramping up. I mean, I know we're only in July right now, but like I want to make sure this October is the coolest October without Parole's ever had. So I'll be ramping up and making sure I have like, updated videos on like every horror game that deserves one for October. So stay tuned on that. That was a fun game, man.
Well, lucky for us, you may not know this, Brian, but Oktoberfest actually starts in September. So that's a great excuse to get in and play these horror games for 2 months as opposed to 1.
What is, other than a place to drink a lot of beer, what is Oktoberfest in terms of what the fuck we're talking about right now?
I mean, it's not really in terms of what we're talking about right now. It is a place to drink a lot of beer. It's a Bavarian beer festival in Germany.
Okay.
But it does start in September now. They moved it up.
Nice.
So when I saw that on Twitter the other day, I thought Oktoberfest starts in September. Well, maybe we should start our October gaming in September. That sounds like a good enough excuse to me.
Man, I saw I started spooky season already. I saw Longlegs in the theater.
Oh, how'd you like it?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I think it was just it was overhyped. I think I mean my spoiler free review is that Act 1 was amazing. Right? It's like I was like, oh, this is going to be a fucking incredible movie, and then Act 2 really slowed down. In Act 3, I was like, did you guys fucking forget to write the end of the movie? Because that's what it felt like. And so so it started off really, really strong for me, and it just kind of went downhill, unfortunately. But I think Miles liked it a little bit more than I did, right?
I didn't love it. I really liked it though. It definitely had issues, but then again, and I know that movies shouldn't always have to be this. When I've been reading a lot of like post like movie discussion and explainers, there's a lot of really interesting stuff throughout the movie that makes me want to see it again. Like, there's clearly a lot of things that are plotted along the way. I just feel that, and this comes down to personal preference, there are certain elements to it I wish were done in a different way. But yeah, the marketing campaign for this movie was absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, just search on Google the birthday murders and go to like the website, and it's like Blair Witch territory of like a DIY website. And then the final marketing push they did before it came out was they did a trailer with the actress who was amazing in it. Munro, what's her first name? Mako Munro, was it? But it was the first time she met Nicolas Cage, who plays Longlegs in it, but you don't really see him in the trailer or anything. And they don't show it in this marketing push. But the first time she ever met him was when on the scene. And so her heartbeat got caught on the microphone, and her heart rate went up to like 176 because she was so like terrified by it. Amazing. For me, the movie wasn't scary. It was incredibly creepy though.
Yeah, like not scary at all. Creepy, I'll agree with you.
Yeah, super creepy. And there were jumpy moments for sure. But I think that and this is always the way with marketing. On the one hand, you could say should have marketed it differently because it was a different movie to what I expected. But at the same time, the marketing was so well done that it's done really well at the box office, and a lot of people are now seeing an indie movie, which I think deserves to be seen by a lot of people because it's pretty damn good and it looks awesome. Like the cinematography in it is epic.
Does Longlegs try to steal the Declaration of Independence?
Yep. Sorry, spoiler. Sorry. Cool. Sorry, but
he ruins our democracy.
Longlegs gets killed in the end with a newspaper against the wall.
I'm gonna scare the Statue of Liberty.
I saw somebody ask about there it is. Your Long Shadows asked, I'm hoping Late Night with the Devil is a hitter. I actually really enjoyed Late Night with the Devil. It was I was in the perfect environment, in the perfect mindset to see it though. I was like, it was the middle of the night that it came out. I really like avoided watching anything about it. And like weird shit was happening in my apartment. Like you guys know, like I talk about how my apartment's haunted, and like the weirdest shit was happening all day. And so I was already kind of not at ease when watching it by myself in the middle of the night. And I really enjoyed it. I thought there were some really great moments, really great acting. Again, not like super scary, but like really enjoyable from start to finish. So, anyway, we got Elderly. Sorry, what?
Go for it.
Elderly Morningstar with the €5 says it's a bit worrying. All the VR Kiwi games are 90% off. Even Stilt. I don't think it's worrying. I think it's just VR Kiwi saw what was happening on Quest and said, this seems like great marketing. I'll get a lot of people talking about our game. And they were like, let's just do it to all of our games. Fucking hit them all. Like drop them all in price. And so I think we're going to find out real soon if it pays off for them or not. All right, guys. You know what time it is?
It's time to wrap up the sale thing by also pointing out that Arizona Sunshine 2 and the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners bundles are both on sale as well. I didn't mention those earlier.
How much is the bundle?
Not a lot. It is $36 for both games.
That's amazing. Incredible. Yeah. But if you have premium, you already have
the best games. Two of the best games in VR ever.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and you have not seen what the PSVR2 headset is capable of if you haven't seen Chapter 2 in the headset. You may have played Chapter 1 on PSVR2, but Chapter 2 just looks, I mean, it's super high res, and you can just see way off into the distance. Craziness. Super solid frame rate.
Chainsaws plural.
And chainsaws. That's right. All right. We also got Elver in the chat with the level 3 membership. What's up, Elver? He says, Ghost of Tabor hype. I've already recruited Elver to help me with the Ghost of Tabor review when that time comes around. Elver knows what he's talking about. So
You're gonna need Elver just to live long enough to be able to play the game. Like these people are gonna eat us alive when we jump into this game.
Yep. Gonna have to turn off crossplay for the first, I don't know, week at least.
6 months.
Yeah, that's way more realistic. All right, guys, it's time for the 5-minute challenge. I've picked out a PSVR 1 or 2 game, and it's up to you guys to figure out what PSVR 1 or 2 game I've come up with. You get infinite number of questions, but only 5 minutes to get this. You know that we changed the rules, right, Miles?
I did not know that. So it's infinite questions we play now.
Yeah, so
yeah,
just
we
like
have to be
ramble them.
Yeah.
But you get a minute less. We're still kind of refining this, so like maybe 5 minutes is too much time.
I think 5 minutes is way too long. It should be 60 seconds.
I mean, listen, Wes, he's
Yeah,
your partner for this.
If it were Looper, I would agree, but since it's not, I think we should take our 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm happy for 5 minutes.
All right.
'Cause I need at least 3 minutes to think of a question.
Right.
All right, guys. Everybody in the chat, help him out because I'm not going to make it easy. Spoilers,
We need you.
I'm not going to make it easy. Yeah. All right. On your mark,
Right.
get Des. Go.
Is it on PSVR 2?
No.
Did we mention this game today?
No, definitely not. We haven't mentioned it in years. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say
Oh,
it.
great.
Is it a horror game?
No.
Is it an action game?
It's action. Yeah, there's action. I wouldn't. That's not how I would just define it.
Are you shooting?
Dungeon crawler?
Wait. There's. I don't think there's shooting. Dungeon crawler, no.
You're using swords?
No.
Move controllers?
It's a wonderful question. I don't believe so. No, not according to this PlayStation Store.
DualShock?
Yes.
So DualShock action game with. Did you say
Aim
no
controller?
shooting?
Oh,
There's no aim
there is
controller.
shooting.
Oh my God.
I had to check. There is shooting.
We have to abandon this. This is void. Is there an aim controller?
No.
So it's just DualShock.
Full locomotion?
Yeah.
Okay. First person?
Yes.
First person shooter,
And
but not a shooter.
There's not puzzle elements in it.
No.
Okay, because there was that puzzle game where you shot stuff.
Based on a known IP?
Yes.
Developer done other VR games?
To my knowledge, not on PSVR 1 or 2. I know of other games they've made on other platforms, other VR platforms.
I see.
Either out or in development. I can't tell you which, though. I don't remember.
Or
Vehicles?
Technically, yes.
Technically, yes.
do you fly in it?
You do.
Whenever it's technically vehicles, it always goes to Iron Man. But there's no there's no moves in it, so it can't be.
All right. So a game that you do some flying and shooting that is based on a.
It's based on an IP. Whether you know it or not, it's another story.
Yeah. Is it cartoony?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? It's not. What's the ship?
Does it-
Oh no, it wasn't that one.
Is it pirate themed?
No.
No. Are you flying around in a ship,
No.
so to speak? No.
You're not on a ship.
So it's
no.
not Battle Blood. So it's not Battle Blood.
Ooh,
Can you use a
Um,
HOTUS? Can you use a HOTUS?
No.
Okay.
So it's not Squadrons. Valkyrie, that's a good one. Space Game?
Nope.
No.
Valkyrie.
Yeah, Gunjack was space, wasn't it? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Dragonflight. Did Dragonflight even come out? Or what was the one Sega game that was supposed to come to VR all those years later? Did it ever come
Panzer
out?
Dragoon, Voyage Record.
Yeah,
never
that's
came
the
out,
one. Okay.
sadly.
I don't think Megaton Rainfall is. Are you a superhero?
Not in the traditional sense of the word, no.
Traditional, non-traditional superhero. Okay.
You're an untraditional superhero, right?
Yeah, you're not a superhero, but you do have, powers.
Powers.
I'm like giving it
I
away.
mean,
Is there like a alien attack in
Nope.
the game?
Is it playable? Is it playable on flat?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Is it a funny game? Is there like humor?
I think there's maybe some humor in the narrative sections. Yeah.
Are there cutscenes?
Yeah. You have 10
There
seconds
are
left.
cutscenes.
Spit it out. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I have no idea.
All right, you guys, 0 seconds. It is Little Witch Academia Broom Racing VR.
Come on.
It came out July 15th, exactly 4 years ago, 2021. This game was an absolute fucking disaster as far as I was concerned. $40, and it was single player. The only multiplayer stuff was just like a social area. We could just fly around with other people. AJ and I spent an hour in the social area going, this is so cool. How do we play the game together? And we couldn't. It was like, this is it. You just fly around the courtyard with your friends. Yeah.
In your vehicles, your broom.
Right. I said, kinda. I tried to make sure that it wasn't. Yeah.
You are such a little witch.
I did see somebody before Looper get it, but I didn't. Things were getting hot and heavy. So I apologize.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got it anyway because I hadn't.
Yeah,
played it,
I was
so.
thrown too far off by the vehicles and superpowers.
Yeah.
To get this.
Yeah, I apologize if I didn't make that clear, but I did do my best to say, not a superhero, but you do have powers, right? Flying around on a fucking broom. I think that's
We
pretty powerful.
definitely watch the chat. It's just there's a lot of chat.
Yeah, amazing. Grandpa's Barbecuer Game Cat with the level 1 membership says, thanks, I'll have a great week. Thank you so much, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here with me today. I felt like we haven't done a proper Gamescast in a while. It was very nice doing it with just me and Wes last week. Very intimate setting, but getting 3 of us up here feels pretty good again. So thank you guys, and thank you everybody for watching, hanging out, shooting the shit with us, keeping us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. Thanks to everybody out there that helps us out. Rypop for getting us up on podcast services of your choice. We got Rhodey, the Game Cat Army General, for getting timestamps into the show after the fact. Everyone that supports me financially on patreon.com/withoutparole everyone who tips during the show, everyone who's a member here, we appreciate all of you. But you know what's more important? That you're here, and that makes us very, very happy. It's way more important than money. And hey, you know what? Shout out to all of you who sat back and watched the show and didn't say a goddamn word. You know why? Because we know you're here. I used to be one of you. If you can believe it, I didn't used to talk very much. And we love you just as much. Thank you, Myles. Thank you, Wes. Go subscribe to their channels. Here it is, you guys. Courtesy of, let's get this right. I don't want to screw it up. Courtesy of Prozac. Oh, I didn't get that until I read it out loud. Here it is. It's your clip of the week. Too funny not to share. Thank you for that, Prozac. We appreciate you. Remember, if you guys got clip of the week that you want on the show, something funny happens to you in game, keep it short, man. Keep it short. I'm much more inclined to throw a 20, 30-second clip up than a 2-minute clip. But go over on our Discord, come join us over there, and submit your clip of the week in the clip of the week channel, along with your viewer takeover questions that we'll get to every Sunday. You guys want to see what was happening on this day without Parole history?
Let's do it. What was it, Brian?
I don't know. I'm
It's been a
scrolling down.
while.
It's been a while.
Been
Yeah.
a while.
Let's see. It was 7:17. Let's see what's going. 7:17. I'm scrolling. Here we go. 2021. Let's check it out. Oh Jesus! Dragon Ride
Whoa.
VR, along with 2 more possible PSVR reveals. Crisis Brigade
Wow.
2 multiplayer. Yeah, we're scraping rock bottom here. I would love to watch the show and find out what the 2 more possible PSVR2 reveals were. I'm going to guess it was not a lot. Yeah, this is from July 16, 2021. Things were rough.
How about the fact that we're in 2024 and we just mentioned Dragon Ride VR and twice in the same 10-minute span?
That's right. Wow. Mark your calendars, folks. Never going to happen again. All right, you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you very soon. We love you all.
Bye-bye.